don't even bother.
Mattress firm is money laundering.
1000%, yeah.
Like, because there's a mattress firm on every.
There's so many.
There's like maybe one person in there buying a mattress.
Yeah.
Also, don't you buy mattresses like every 10 or 15 years? Isn't that the whole point
Yeah,
of mattresses?
so we don't
is
need
that you don't need them all the time?
50 mattress firms in
Yeah.
Meridian alone.
I haven't even really paid attention. And
Oh, there's a shitload of them.
I haven't paid attention here. I remember from San Diego, there were like mattress stores everywhere.
And nobody's ever in
Yeah.
My cousin went and bought beds one time. I went to help him. And I was like, this is the first time I've ever been in one of these. I was like, yeah, they're definitely laundering money. But I've always seen these, like, they're called like birds of a feather or something like that. And I'm like, first of all, how can you afford like the overhead for a brick and mortar?
Right.
And you're selling bird feed and like what, binoculars and like there was like a breakfast spot right beside it that we would go to back home one time. And I would like look in the windows and I'm like, they're laundering money. Like there's no way. This has to be like, I was like looking it up. It's like $2,800 a month in rent, somewhere between that and like $3,000. I'm like, are you selling that much bird stuff?
So there's also, there's like an exotic fish place. There was maybe a year and a half ago. It's big. And I walked into it and I just thought, there's nobody in here. It's dark. It's dreary. It's the perfect front.
Oh, 1,000%.
Exotic fish market is weird. That's a weird world.
For Meridian, Idaho?
And
Like-
No, like it could
In
100% could be a front, but like just fish, having been an aquatic specialist at a pet store for
Were you an
years and
aquatic
years
specialist at a
and
pet
years.
store?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And
This
those
is
people
perfect. I've got so
are
many
weird and it could for sure be the mafia. Not your mafia, but
I had
like the
a
Chinese mafia.
close friend of mine. He was pretty wealthy. He was a doctor. His wife was a doctor, but he was telling me about his in-laws. And I think they were up in like Pennsylvania or something. And they did exotic fish. And they're like, yeah, they'll sell like a koi fish for like 20 grand.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they just had an exotic fish farm and they were multimillionaires. And I'm like, you hit one of those moments where you're just like, why don't I stop everything I'm doing and just invest completely into that?
Right.
Like college degree, don't need it. I just need how much land do you need for a fish farm?
Can you stack them up? Like, how do you? Yeah, it's a wild business.
But I mean, how much loss can you? Like, if I had a fish business,
Yeah.
and I had a $20,000 koi fish die, like that's got to help taxes a lot. I mean, how are they going to prove? You know what I'm saying? Like
That's a solid.
yeah, you're losing
that's a
300
solid
grand in
point.
fish every year from death or something like that. Like, dude, I know this is a front.
I mean, I think we might find some new thing for you to pivot into. But in the meantime,
Yeah, we'll go.
in the meantime,
Is that the new Somali daycare?
Yeah.
Fish stores, yeah.
Is the
Maybe
fish?
it's the original. It's
I
not the new.
mean, it started so long ago and we didn't even know it.
Yeah.
because
Just
it was
blew up so many people's spots. Yeah.
I mean,
my bad, y'all.
crazy. No, it's wild. All right, we got Joey McPeek,
Here we are.
Peak Home Inspections, America's inspector, America's favorite inspector.
We're getting there. I think I got to be close.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
We're so stoked to have you.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys having me on here. This will be there's definitely a lot of interesting stuff that comes along with home inspections. So there's a lot to talk about.
So tell us a little bit about your background. What got you in, where you're from? What got you into home inspections? The whole, let's learn about Joey.
Yeah. Okay. Well, a little bit about me. The shortest of stories. I grew up in South Carolina, kind of on the state line. So I always just say the Carolinas because I grew up like a mile. And then every time somebody repeats it back to me, they say North Carolina. And so I'm just like the Carolinas. So grew up in the Carolinas, went to school out there. I've been in sales or construction basically since college and in high school. I was just like, man, COVID hit when I actually moved out here in 2018. And COVID hit. I was working for a company out here, and I was like, this is just not fun anymore. Called my buddy back home, and I was like, dude, tell me more about this home inspection thing. I had worked with him a couple times, and he's like, dude, you come out here for a week. I'll show you everything you need to know. He told me how much he made. I was like, very interested now. And I was like, dude, I'll do you one better because my parents still live back there. And I was like, what if I move back for a year and work with you? And he's like, dude, that's you're more than gold if you do that. And so went back, worked with him, did about 500 inspections, put all my stuff in a storage unit out here in Idaho, and then went back to South Carolina and just did a ton of inspections. And so that was my competitive advantage is I got to skip ahead like 10, 15 years. There's so many of these guys are trying to figure it out as they go, which is, I get it. You got to start somewhere, but it's a huge disservice, I think. And so when I jumped in here in Idaho, I was ready to go. And the good news is I had a mentor who wasn't a competitor. You know, he's on the other side of the country. So the dude's never been wrong. He knows everything. And so it's like, that's a lot of confidence coming into starting your own business. Like I got handed a golden ticket and all you had to do was kind of put in the footwork, and it just kept compounding year after year. And so I'm on like year 5 now.
And you're literally the best. You're the only one I'll refer to. You have so much background training.
Yeah.
And hours logged and so many inspections completed that when you hear of what people go through in Idaho to be a home inspector, what is it? You go into Doppel or
You don't have to. Yeah.
you don't even have to.
Nothing is required.
You just fill out a Google form.
Basically, yeah. You got your LLC, get to work. Or what the joke that I've heard since I moved to Idaho is like, to be a general contractor, it's just a truck and a dog.
Pretty much.
And you're a GC. So, I mean, I've been involved and I've worked with custom home builders. I've been involved in that process. But like, even if I started my own like building company, if I became a GC, I would still need a lot of help. There would still be a huge learning curve for me. And you would think that I would be one of the most like able to do it. There's a lot that goes into all of that. And so I like my little niche. I like where I'm at. I do want to eventually build houses one day, but it gets a little expensive out here in Idaho.
Sure.
Now. So it's like back in the Carolinas, I don't want to move home, but it's a little cheaper back there.
Well, I tell you, I would definitely trust you to build a house with all of the, like, I trust you to build a house for me with all of the background that you've been through and all of the shit that you've seen.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Because it's been a lot.
Well, and it's not like we have a lot of really good quality home builders out here either.
No, we do. Hold on. We do have a lot of quality. I would say we've got a lot of good quality home builders, but there are a lot of, there's always the ones that fall in the cracks also.
For sure.
But you do have like the more custom.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And the hardest part that I try to explain to people about my job too is like, my job is literally to be negative almost. Like, I mean, I'm not here like saying, oh, I like the color of the walls. Like, and it's like the good stuff I don't comment on. And then people get real excited. Like, oh, they want my opinion. That gets me sued. I'm here to give just a third party. Here's a look at the house. Here's how well they did. You can ask me questions. I'm like, well, usually this builder is about along this line, or usually they're really good. This is kind of a one-off, or, hey, this is one of the best I've ever seen kind of thing. And that's kind of where we judge it by. But there's so much going on during this process. It's so hard to keep up with it. So even if I've never worked for a tract builder, but if you give me, as good as I am as a home inspector, give me 30 houses in a neighborhood, there's going to be a lot falling through the cracks. There's a neighborhood out in Nampa. I don't want to say who the builder is, but I was out there and I kept seeing the same superintendent, and I finally started talking to him. He was the only guy there, and there was 50 houses. And I'm like, when are they getting you some help, bro? He's like, well, we're working on it. And so a national builder. And so, and that was the cool thing is I got to see that neighborhood, I don't know, like have a lot of mistakes. And then as they kind of evened out a little bit, kind of got the ball rolling, got the help in there, then the mistakes started kind of going away.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So it can happen to anybody. A lot of times we think about like, oh, I'll just build a custom house. And that's like a larger scale. So it's either really, really good, way better than stuff, or it just tanks completely. Because if you're building the same plan over and over and over, these guys kind of know what they're doing. Copy and paste, it gets a little better each time. Custom houses, they're really having to kind of read, right? They're having to read plans, and they're having to figure out things that haven't been figured out yet. And that's where we have to kind of come in too. So
I think even with the best of builders, because I've worked with there are a lot of good builders, but in anything, everyone's human. You've got the whole chain of command, but then from the super to all the subs to everyone that's involved in the building process of a house. I do think that, like a lot of places typical to Idaho, when it took off pre-2020 and then 2020-21, you're building so fast you can't keep up with the demand. Obviously, things are going to go, there's going to be a lot of shit that slips through. But that happens in any industry. It's just typically the other industries aren't as big of an investment as a house. So
Kansas looking real good.
Yeah. So when you see those things, but I always allowed grace for that. But it's then when we had the slower times.
Yeah.
That if stupid mistakes are being made, especially in new construction.
Yeah.
Because you understand with a pre-existing home, but new construction, and it's not like the neighborhood is being thrown up in a month. It's taking time.
Sure.
That then tells me, did you not learn to just, now you're on a slower pace? You can take that slower pace. Like maybe don't treat it so copy paste because this is what we've done before, and just know how to move forward properly.
Yeah, and I'll say, like, that's a perfect example of that is our big regional builder here that's been here since the 90s. When we did slow down and they had a bunch of inventory, I noticed that their houses started getting a little more what I call like inspection proof. They had some time, they slowed down a little bit, and I was finding less mistakes. And they're one of the only builders out here that I've seen, and they're our biggest builder in Idaho, where I know they study these reports because that, like, when I start a new neighborhood and it's all starting to go up, here's all this stuff on these inspection reports. And it's little mundane things, but it's things that need to get done. And then those mistakes I see start to clear up over time. And I'm like, that's who I like. And they're one of our budget builders and that people always talk crap about. And I always promote them online. Like, I'm always a fan of any of them. You just have to get an inspection. Like, I mean, it just, and here's the thing too. Here's one of my biggest things that I tell people. This is such a good takeaway, is because inspector talk, right? All the social media stuff, we're just showing bad stuff all the time. Comments are just filled online with like, name the builder, this builders are terrible. I would never buy new construction. I hear that on every single video that I post. I would never buy new construction. Here's the thing though. You mentioned a second ago, like, a resale house. What if they didn't have an inspection? Like, it could have been a terrible build, but at least, they got an inspection, they got some things fixed. You have no clue. Maybe this house is 10, 15 years old. You can't find the original owner of it. So, like, for example, this is one thing that I try to market to people. I'll do like a pre-drywall inspection. I'm like, it doesn't matter how bad the inspection comes back. It's the fact that you got it done. Great for resale. Like, if I were to go buy a house that's 5 years old right now, and they show me, oh, here's my pre-drywall inspection, here's my new construction inspection, and at the 11-month warranty, we got an inspection too. I'm like, oh, I'm happy. It makes me feel better about my investment. Whereas, like, oh no, we didn't get an inspection. Like, if I was just like not an inspector and just a regular person, I'd be like, not too sure about this. Whereas I can go check stuff out now. But
Well, and what if some previous owner was like a DIY electrician? Like,
Or plumber.
yeah. And then you get
Yeah.
into that whole side of the horror stories too. And it doesn't take long either. So, like, I would say the best house for me to inspect is one that's like 3 or 4 years old. There's not a ton going on. I'm not having to write up a ton of maintenance items or anything like that. But I've been in houses that are like 2 years old, and I'm like, no way. If I walk up to the electrical panel and I can see like the panel screws are different than the original ones, this is not good. And every time it's like an engineer lives there or somebody that's in the field, the worst people. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, well, now I'm on a wild goose chase for whatever the heck they did in here. And then the hard part too is like they're doing stuff behind walls and attics under insulation and stuff. And my biggest thing as an inspector is to try to translate that I can't see everything. Like, if this dude did a bunch of stuff behind the wall and he's got some open splices and they catch on fire later on, I did the best I could, but I can't see.
But you're not required to start
Have
cutting
X-ray
into
vision.
walls and stuff.
Yeah. I can tell you, like, hey, there's been things added to this panel.
And you're really good about that. You're really about the recommendations to consult a professional electrician, consult this. Because even though you are so well versed in all of it, it's also covering yourself. Like, I'm noticing this, I'm letting you know, you might want to get that checked out.
Yeah.
Further.
Yeah, and that's a lot of pushback that I hear. I had a cousin that got an inspection on the other side of the country. They sent me the report, and they were just like, I always try to be I'm on both sides of the coin. There's so many bad home inspectors, but I always try to be on their side first because I get it. I'm in the industry. But then I'll see a report sometimes. I'm like, holy crap, okay. Like it's just so funny how tight and clean my team is and the amount of like threats and lawsuits that we get a year versus like I see these other people and I'm like, how are they still in business? So like back to my cousin's report, they're just like, hey, the entire report is just loaded with see a professional, see a professional, see a professional. I'm like, man, if you break down our standards of practice, you look at the agreement and stuff, that's really all we can tell you to do. And I want to be in this business for a long time. I enjoy it. If I get sued one time, I'm shutting the thing down. Like if something goes wrong my way, I'm just going to shut it down because it's pointless for me because everybody's trying to attack me at all times. And they don't actually know like what a home inspector does. And if you try to figure out what we're supposed to do, it's not like you guys are buying and selling houses literally weekly. You know, we're doing this daily, so we have a routine and a standard of practice we go by. But like, if you don't know what we're doing, you expect a lot. And what I'm getting on inspectors right now, I'm like, I'll comment on like other inspector stuff on TikTok. There's a dude like he's up here with a torch, like he's in like Minnesota or somewhere like that, in northeast,
Minnesota,
somewhere. Yeah, and he's like getting up on his ladder in the dead of winter and torching snow so he can look at shingles. Oh. And I'm like, bro. No. please. Because now, like, all this, so you guys don't know that, like, oh, now I expect my home inspector to do that. And I'm like, that's dumb, dude. That's way beyond our standards of practice. And so a lot of it is really translating, like, what we actually do and try to do a good job versus what people expect us to do. Or like, oh, this started leaking 2 months after. Sorry, it wasn't leaking during the inspection. It happened to me. My mentor inspected the house my first house I bought back in South Carolina. A month later, the air conditioning went out. And he says the same thing that I tell everybody now. Like, well, I told you it was 23 years old. It's way beyond its life expectancy. You need to have it serviced. Something you need to anticipate. So there's just such a huge range. And I got a million examples like this too. I mean, it's literally every day.
I would say one thing I always recommend to anyone is get an inspection, because I know there was a period during COVID where people were waiving inspections just to get the house because they were already overbidding and overpaying. And that's so wild to me, because you're literally making this massive investment without knowing. You're going in blind and you've accepted that and you've overpaid for it. To me, there's nothing more stupid, and you're doing yourself the most massive disservice, because you could walk into that and it fall down in 2 days because nothing was done right, but you didn't know.
Exactly. And it's like, back to your original point of like, hey, get this further evaluated. It is a cover for us too, because like, how many houses do you guys know that have burned down? Like, personally, like, I don't know anybody personally. I know some people do, but it can't be more than like 5 or 6. Like,
I mean, my aunt burned 2 houses down just of her own.
Her own volition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, see, that makes sense. Yeah. But we know the cause from that, right? Like,
Oh, yes, we do.
but for example, like back in the Carolinas, we'd have these little mill towns, right? And a couple generations before us, but they would build like 200 of the exact same house. And that was the neighborhood. Then across the street, there's the mill, and everybody just walked over there to work. And that's what those towns did. There was nothing else to do in those towns besides hunt and fish. And so you'd go into those older houses, and they'd all have those Federal Pacific panels, right? And Federal Pacific panels have recalls on them, there's safety hazards. There's a lot on them, right? There's class action lawsuits. And so one thing that I would tell clients, I'm like, look, this has a class action lawsuit on it. It needs to be replaced. That's an expensive thing to do. You can't always get a seller to do that, right? I'm not there to negotiate that. I'm just here to provide information. But I'm like, I don't see any one of these houses that is like brand new. Like, they've all had the same panel for 48 years now, or 62 years now. Like, we're operating on that side of like the 0.01% a lot of times, And then Boise, we got a couple of houses falling down right now. I inspected one. I inspected one of those. It's up in Quail something.
Hollow?
Quail Ridge.
Hollow. Everything's named after quail back home, so I can never remember. It's like Quail Hollow, Quail Haven, Quail something. So it was one of the only times I told a client, like, please don't buy this house. Like, if I can see this much wrong with it, and then it's just a beautiful place, a nice house, and you kind of go through with it. And I don't want to get too much of it. I think they're like they weren't the original owners of the house. It wasn't a brand new house. I think it was like 4 or 5 years old, but a handful of those houses started sinking. And I'm in the crawl space seeing gaps in the framing that are like this big, that I'm like, that's separated that much. It doesn't even take a home inspector or a genius to figure this out. And then I've heard through the grapevine they've had to sink triple digit or 6 digits worth into it now. Yeah. So, and then there were some of the ones up in the foothills too.
Yeah.
I've inspected.
On the Mesa.
Yeah, on the Mesa.
Yeah.
Yep.
I used to live up there.
Did you? Okay. Yeah, I inspected one of those bad boys. I was like, I very rarely do I call out for like an actual foundation contractor, like, or a structural engineer. Like, foundation contractors and structural engineers are a little bit different. But like, if I'm calling for a structural engineer and I'm putting it in red on the report, let's pay attention to it.
Yeah.
I will ask, when you were in South Carolina, the craziest shit that you've seen in houses, would you say that it was there, or is it here, since you've gotten into this?
Here's one thing about Boise and the Treasure Valley in general, is we're still a pretty young city. Like, now that I've done, most of my career has been out here, so I kind of have a snapshot there. I grew up there, but I've done about 500 inspections out there. We're still such a young city. We don't really start seeing neighborhoods here until like the 90s, And so that helps a lot. Whereas like back home, I might inspect a house from the 1800s. There was a Civil War battle fought in the front field, and that house was used as a medic or something like that, right? Or part of it got blown up or anything crazy like that. So there's more opportunity in South Carolina. And I saw a lot, and I know if I was still like in that area, I probably would have seen a lot more. The one big difference, and I didn't learn this until I came out here, is crawl space hatches to get under the house. They're inside the house here, and I didn't realize that, and which I thought was kind of weird at first, but they're all on the outside. There's like a hatch on the outside. Sometimes it's tall, it's like a door. Sometimes it's like this big, and it opens up a little bit once you get inside there. But that leaves a lot of, and we have more ventilation there too, and those vents are a little bit bigger than what we have here, and they get knocked out. So that leaves a lot more room for critters and people and things. So I found a lot of stuff in crawl spaces. So I hop into a crawl space here, I lift the hatch up, I drop in, and I just go. I'm not worried about anything. We have black widow spiders. That's about it. Back home, you're scanning. You open the door, you take your flashlight, and you look for eyes. Do this first.
Are you smelling any cucumber?
You smelling anything. Yeah. And you will smell some stuff. Yeah. And so first thing I would always do is I scan for eyes. Well, first thing I do is I kill all the black widows that are right there they like the edges. So you're always crawling under like black widows to get in there. And so the next thing I'm doing, I'm scanning for eyes. And I've seen possums, raccoons. I saw a dead bobcat one time.
Oh, dang.
I've seen dead house cats. Seen live house cats. Saw a dog once. There was a video going around on like TikTok of like a mountain lion or something. I'm like, yeah, thank God I didn't have to run into that.
Yeah. I'd let a possum live under my house, I think.
Here?
Yeah, I would.
Let him. Oh yeah, I'd let him. Oh, let him live. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, they're not, and then they just play dead. You can pick them up and pet them. They just sit there
they
with
just
their
eat
teeth.
ticks.
Yeah.
They smell terrible, but like they're pretty beneficial.
They're pretty fun.
As
Yeah.
critters go.
I would let a snake live under my house.
Yeah.
As long as there's no way for it to get in.
Snake, not a lot of snakes.
Yeah, one singular
That's the
snake.
caveat.
0% would allow that.
Well, here's the thing: snakes don't really do a ton.
Yeah,
but
they
the
kill mice. Yeah.
So, like, if I lived up in the foothills here,
Yeah.
I'm putting a snake under that bad one. I'm going to go grab some bull snakes. I'm putting them in my crawl space.
This is why I don't live in the foothills, because I have like a snake lizard phobia thing.
Any kind of reptiles got to go. Yeah.
See, and we, behind our house before, because we were the first neighborhood on our street,
Okay.
and it was all ag before that. Actually, I used to go pheasant hunting with my dad where my house is now.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So it
That's
was
so cool.
all ag up until a certain point. But so we had a wheat field behind us. Yeah. And so the amount of snakes we found in our yard all the time, which it was like, that's a bull snake.
Yep.
Just throw them back in the field.
Yep, you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had black snakes back home, and that was one of the things too is they don't bother you. I've seen a handful of snakes in crawl spaces before. Black snakes don't bother you, and every snake kind of wants to get away from you. But they like to go in that insulation, and they'll shed. And yeah. So I would sit there, and I'd be crawling through, and I'd like look up, or I'm scanning over, and I see like a large snake skin that just goes down there like that. I'm like, well, that's like a 4-foot snake skin. I'm like,
And it's bigger now.
I was like, is homeboy still in here? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to. But so then if I'm like
Straight for
looking at
sale.
plumbing, I've got like a piece of PEX that's like 3 feet long, and I got it sharpened on the end, and so I'll move the insulation down to make sure no snakes fall
yeah.
underneath it or something.
I don't like surprise snakes. I don't mind snakes. They don't bother me. But like, I don't want to be surprised by one. So I get that.
The ironic
bother me.
part though is the only crawl space that I put on the report that I would not go in was out here. It was in Idaho because of snakes.
Mm-hmm.
It was what's it? Mesa? Is that the name of it? Near like Council?
I was going to say, was
Oh,
it
yeah,
the
yeah.
snake house that was in a lawsuit?
Oh no, that was here. The one with like all the snakes behind the walls and stuff.
Yes.
Ugh, I better pay attention to that. Well, were they all
I'm like,
rattlesnakes?
that would have been the death of me.
Oh yeah, me too.
No,
I don't
it was
like that.
a big case. We learned about it in case law.
I feel like I've
no,
seen it,
thank
but I didn't know
you.
if it was here
Hard
or not.
pass. 0% would have died. Like 100.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then what do you do with the house like that afterwards? Like,
burn it to the
Yeah.
ground.
like you just got to take the loss.
That's the day that yes, we will be like your aunts and burn
Yeah.
the house
Yeah.
down.
Well, the insurance can
What
get a
a
phone call.
well,
quick.
what are you gonna do? So my follow-up question to South Carolina was: did you ever inspect any plantations?
Not like big, like majestic ones that we see, like in movies and stuff like that. But,
No.
But yeah, some old houses for sure. Even my mentor, like he's got some stories. Like there's like the sellers were home, and he's like, oh, the ghost likes like things in 3, and so he's like, he's like, oh yeah, this place is definitely haunted. And he's like, man, when I was there, everything these guys were talking about was happening. Like you would hear a door or a cabinet go, like 1, 2, 3 kind of thing, stuff like that.
Oh.
Like interesting. And so I did a house one time, and this is not my only ghost story doing this, but I don't think I've had any out here, but I was doing this house and nobody was there. Seller wasn't there, and it had this really, really long driveway. I mean, it probably took 60 seconds to get down the driveway through the woods and all that. It was on some land. I finished the inspection. The last thing we do is the crawl space. Crawl space access is on the back side of the house, kind of on the foundation skirting. And the house wasn't vacant. But when as a home inspector, when I walk into these houses, I instantly like get a sense of like, oh, somebody died here, divorce, they're just selling it. Like I always kind of get those senses when that happens. You walk into the master closet, and it's just all the women's stuff. And you see a bunch of pictures face down and all that stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, divorce, yeah. And but this house it was creeping me out from the beginning. Older house, and I'm like by the crawl space, or I'm kind of sitting there, just finished the crawl space. And the door's open, and it's quiet out there. Like, if somebody had pulled up that gravel road, I assume I would have heard them. So I'm sitting there, I'm kind of working on my report, and I hear 2 sets of footprints. Like, people don't understand, like, if there's a crawl space underneath us right now, and I was underneath there, us just having this conversation, I might be able to pick up exactly what you're saying. Like, I can hear people talking. Sometimes I can even translate what they're saying. And kind of vice versa, too. If you're down in the crawl space, like, we had a termite guy that was always down there, and I was upstairs with the clients, or in the house with the clients, and he's down there mad cussing, and he's like, God, I was like, Martin, we can hear you, dude. I can hear the words you're saying. But anyways, I'm sitting here by this door, and I hear 2 sets of footprints, and I'm like, or footsteps rather, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. Nobody's supposed to be coming by, kind of deal. And so I get out. So by the time I hear those, and then I heard him walk from like where the front door was over to like above where I was, which was kind of like by a bathroom. And so I'm like, oh, let me go see who it is. And so I walk around the house. So it was like 60 seconds from the time I heard these footprints. By the time I shut the door, walked around the house, no cars out front. I'm like, it hit me. I got chills. And I was like, this was the first house I didn't like go through and like turn all the lights. I didn't check the oven. I didn't do anything. I opened the door and I was like, hello. I said that like 5 or 6 times. Boom, locked the Supra, gone.
Done.
Yeah, I was like, what the? Because I know I wasn't just hearing anything. It wasn't like a furnace kicking on or anything. Like, I can tell. That's why I say it was 2 distinct people walking through that house. I'm like, I'm out of here.
I guess that makes sense. I didn't even think when I asked about plantation about the haunted, but that makes sense because that shit is so old.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it be? And those houses, I'm sure, have a lot of history with just the eras that they were in and all of the things that. Yet, no thanks. You have like your own ghost adventure.
Yeah.
No.
And I think one of the best parts about living in Boise too is I think only one time I've carried my like pistol in my like bag with me, whereas I used to carry my pistol with me a lot of times back home. Just depending on the neighborhood or like the type of people, like the sellers that are just real. People are just madder over there for some reason, I guess. Like the people that were just kind of way out. Like everybody here is, Boise nice is kind of a real thing that I've discovered, but. I've only had to carry my pistol with me like once, maybe twice out here, whereas like back home, I'm like pulling into some neighborhoods. When you pull into the neighborhoods and you can see the AC unit has either like a fence around it with a gate or angle iron that's been welded over it so it can't get stolen. And there's some crackheads running through. Yeah. You take a couple extra precautions. Yeah. And I've had to put stuff like that in reports before just to cover me of like, hey, like, this guy kept coming by the house, or I would say things like that, like just anything to just like cover me. Like, hey, I couldn't do a full inspection or something. Like maybe I make a phone call, but yeah, doing it in Boise is so easy. This is like cheating. So the Carolinas was great. It was a good place to cut my teeth. The only thing I like about the Carolinas is there was more slab on grade, and then out here is like 99% crawl spaces.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to crawl every day here.
You do
for the most part.
Yeah. How crazy.
I will say I have an incredible crawl space in my house. You could comfortably walk around in my crawl space. It's all visqueen. It's amazing.
That's what I love to hear. Yep. That will literally make our day. Like we have my other inspectors were all on a group, and we'll send pictures of like Joe did it yesterday. There's a ladder going down into the crawl space, and he's like, score. And I'm like, and I was doing this old farmhouse, and it was on a slab, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best day of my whole life. and it's not even like I don't mind getting in crawl spaces. They're way cleaner here than they are back in the Carolinas too. It's just like the extra time that it takes. I don't know if when I go into that thing, if I'm gonna be there 15 minutes or 45. And then if it's a tough crawl space and you're down there and you're dirty and you're sweating and you're mad and you're having to get like, I know the master bathroom's over here and you're trying to figure out a way to crawl to it and it's not that easy. And you're like, I got to get eyes on it. No matter what, I have to get eyes on this thing.
Are you army crawling through the crawl space?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Majority of the time.
Majority of the time.
Not in Megan's.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like hands and knees, but I always joke like it's not the fatness, it's the tallness that gets me. Like I can get through a lot of places. It's like if you're the taller you, like if I was 6'6", I probably just wouldn't even do inspections. It just wouldn't be worth it. I'm 6'1", and it's like you have to, like if you're on your hands and knees, you're too high up if you're really tall, and so I'm like I have to belly crawl a lot, which is just a lot more work. But
yeah.
That or you're doing like the little kind of scoot, like your legs are kicked out. You look like a frog. You're just kind of pumping through. Yeah.
You're scooting in. I mean, you do what you got to do.
For sure, yeah.
But you get the job done.
Got to get the job done.
And you get it done so well.
And that's what they pay us for.
That's what they pay you for. So tell us how you built your business then in Idaho and how it's kind of evolved and grown to where you have it now.
For sure. I would say 20% luck because you kind of just timed it right. I mean, honestly, so I moved to Boise on a whim. Like I'm from a really small town in South Carolina, but we were 20 minutes from Charlotte. So that was really cool. Like I graduated with like 97 people from my high school, but we were 20 minutes from an international airport. So that was a very prime thing. I like that. I did not realize how much Boise was going to grow. So it's one of those things like I watched my little town get taken over by Charlotte. So I was like, well, if it's going to get exploded, I might as well make some money from it. And so I got 20% lucky, I say, with timing it in Boise with all this new construction. But getting it started was, like I said, coming back with my mentor, having him in my back pocket, jumping in. I was doing Instagram when it was still videos. You remember it switched?
Yeah.
We always forget that it was like just videos.
Yeah.
I'm like, I moved out here and I was like, I'm not going to get another job. I'm going to make this work. And so it was June of 2021 was when I moved back to Idaho to start it. And that first like 6 months, I did 75 or 76 inspections. And it was just feet to the ground. I was going to open houses. I was talking to people, passing sample reports out, and just doing everything. And so I'm like looking at some of the bigger companies out here, and I'm like, it's going to take me forever to get 1,000 5-star reviews, or 500 to look legitimate. And we still like we still look at that stuff. Like I hate to think that we do sometimes because I'm like, hey, I know I started and I had like 30 reviews and I knew I was the best. And it's like I wanted everybody else to know that too. And so I was like, I'm just going to try to take over. And that was kind of really, I guess there were influencers back then too, but like, it was never my goal. I was just like, I just want to be the guy. I'm just going to win social media. That was kind of my jump. And so I remember like posting actual videos and then they turned into reels. And so hindsight, I wish I could go back and like, I remember when TikTok came out, I should have jumped on it because that would have been the bread wagon. But I got on that and I had this, I've got a sales background too. So I know how to talk to people and how to get in front of people the right way. And it's it's one of those things like it takes on average like 8 touches to get a
Sure.
sale, right? And so if I stop by an open house and I throw you a card and I leave, it doesn't do a whole lot. It can, but not usually. So I make sure that I used Instagram as a tool. And I credit most of my success to Instagram. And then once I got my foot in the door, I was everybody. The line that I would always throw out to people was like, I know everybody's got their inspectors that they love. I'm new. I'm just kind of getting out here. I'm really good. So it's like I'm doing you a favor because now you've got Michael Jordan sitting on the bench. Like so whenever you're ready to call him up to the big leagues, you're gonna see what happens when you put Big Mike in, and that's what would happen. They're bringing MJ off the bench, and here comes Joey, and they're like, "Holy crap! I've never seen an inspection." So it's one thing my mentor would always talk to me about. He's like, "I know you can talk. I know I can weasel my way into anything." He's like, "You got to have a good report. Like, dude, this is if you get sued in your first year, all that was for nothing, And so I just got really lucky that I had him. Because he probably turns down, he's got 3 or 4 guys that work for him too, and probably still turns down 30 to 40 inspections a week. Wow. The dude is killing it. And so that's who I got to learn from. And so then I would do that, make that contact, and the second somebody would give me a chance, it was off to the races. And they're like, well, I'm not calling that other guy anymore. You're up now.
Yeah, you're the only one that I'll ever use. I have your, oh my gosh, what's it called? A tape measure. You gave me a tape measure once. That's in my car. I always have a tape measure in my car because when I show clients property, sometimes they'll be looking and they're like, I wonder if my things can fit here. And I'm like, I will be able to tell you. Yeah, we'll be able to see that in a second.
Yeah.
So I love it. But you're also just so good with everyone that you encounter. You've been good with clients. You're super respectful. All of these things. How has your business transitioned to where it is now? You have I will say you've dominated the Instagram game. Now, like I said, America's Inspector, TikTok. You're everywhere. So you've really leveraged that. But I think the biggest point is that people love information and they love not being lied to. They love hearing it straight. And yeah, it's not always pretty, but we're a sick society that we like seeing the shit too, especially in someone else's house.
The horror stories.
The horror stories. We want it. We want to know because one, for weird mental things, but two, because it makes us be more aware of maybe what's going on in our house or whatever it is. You're a little just more open to it. But.
And that's one of the weird parts about being a home inspector is, or just like the psychology of it in general is like, you just paid me a bunch of money. You almost want something wrong with your house. Nobody's like happy. They're happy, but then the questions roll into of like, oh, was he a bad home inspector? Did they do their job the way they're supposed to? There's only 10 things on this report. And then I'll hear those too. Like I've done buyer's inspections that have had pre-listings on them. It's another way I got a lot of business too. They look at the pre-listing inspection and then they look at my inspection and they're like, he didn't do this or find a lot of stuff. And so that's kind of one of the other ways that I would grow as well. It was like just getting those reports out there, getting in front of people and showing them. But that's the sad truth of it is we do want to see the bad stuff. But even like me, like I sent, when I bought houses, I'm like, oh man, I want something from it. Like if I'm going to pay some money, I want something from it, even though you really don't.
You really don't. But we also have to see the bad stuff because we have to know how to fix it if it's worth dealing with, right? Yeah. The home inspection is the perfect time where you're literally, it's a contingency. You can have a buyer that says, you know what, based on all this and maybe a seller's unwillingness to cooperate to fix it or credit or do whatever they have to do to make that right because maybe it was their fault that they neglected. And a buyer has the option to exercise that right to leave the deal because of the inspection.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so crucial that you have a good home inspector and not someone who is just kind of, I don't know, lollygagging through and not calling shit out, but then you find it's a problem. Or there's the other ones that overly scare. And then if they have a repeat inspection with someone else, because I've heard a lot of those stories with colleagues, that it's not like that at all, but you've already blown the deal because that first one put the fear of God in them.
And there's definitely a fine line too, right? Like I said, we're in an unregulated state. So I can do what I want as a home inspector, and it's going to be tough for you to come after me. But the promise that a lot of home inspectors do that we do is we provide, like Internachi, who is the biggest like home inspection training, like they provide a standards of practice. And this is what we are promising you. When you sign that agreement and we send you that standards of practice, we're promising you that we're going to go off that standards of practice. And that standards of practice is exhaustive, right? There's a lot of things. It's not just like going through a checklist. Like I care a lot about the house. I do want to know the reasons why things are doing what they're doing. I'm not just there like there's a leak. Because the thing that my mentor taught me too is like we're trying to eliminate callbacks. Like, okay, there's a leak under the sink in the bathroom. Okay, well, the callback I'm going to get is which bathroom? Was it leaking from the drain? Was it leaking from the water supply? Ooh, left sink, right sink? Like, like that's just a small example, but you'll get 50 follow-up questions. And so, I was taught early just to be super, super thorough. Like, I want to answer every possible question you could. You should be able to read my report. And here's the joke my inspectors and I make. If you have a question after reading our report, you're probably an idiot. And it's true. I would say 1% of the questions we get are actually valid. It's gotten to the point where I would just screenshot the report and send it to them. Like, hey, here's your answer. Yeah.
Here's the answer.
Yeah. So it's definitely a fine line of not doing too much or emphasizing the things that don't matter. Unless there's a massive hole in the drywall, that's cosmetic. I'm not calling that out on a 10, 15, 20, whatever year old house. I might let you know. I might even put it just under informational or like a minor thing too. But yeah, you don't want to do too little. You don't want to do too much, but you want to give people information. And that's the other good part too, is even if I don't find a lot of stuff, I have so many photos in there that show that like this was a thorough inspection. There's no way, like I looked at another inspector's report the other day and there's 10 photos in the entire report. 10 photos. I've got 20 photos of just your roof. I've got another 30 of your crawl space.
You have video?
I've got videos explaining everything. So that's kind of one of the ways that we started doing it is with our software, we could do the videos, we can do pictures, we can add text and arrows and all that fun stuff. So it's really helpful for the end user. So
I'm going to give a little perspective as the only Idaho native in this room. because I just met you today, but it sounds, and from what Katusha's told me about you, that you're awesome and you're so thorough. But so before the boom, Idaho was very much I know a guy state. And everybody, I have a skill and you have a skill. And so I'll help you out when you need my skill and you'll help me out when you need, and it's just very under the radar. And we had not really any good contractors because you know a guy. And so it was like, what's the, oh, well, I don't need an inspection. My dad will come look at it. Or, my Uncle Gary or whoever.
Yeah.
And then if you need it fixed, you know a guy.
You know another guy.
Yeah.
And then right before the boom happened, a lot of real shady contractors came in. Mm-hmm. And so there were some real shyster plumbers, HVAC guys who were coming around just taking advantage of people.
Sure, yeah.
Really bad. And so I think you've probably being able to back up, to walk the walk.
Oh, yeah.
Has probably helped a lot because there have been a lot of just people totally screwed over.
Yeah.
Who were, like, oh, well, I'll use this big company. And then they're just effed.
And the broad version of that whole thing is that's very small townish. What I grew up with too, like, oh, the guy one street over, he owns the only masonry business in the area. Like, he's going to do the work, like good, bad, or indifferent. That's what's going to happen. But kind of the broad stroke for that whole thing is like, at some point you have to roll the dice. And one of the things that people ask me for recommendations for these people all the time, something like a roof, get a big company. Even if you pay more, like, get a big company that's been here a while. And it's not to like not support the local cats that are starting stuff up or these mom and pop, the ones that actually need it. But I don't know if they're going to be in business to fulfill that whole warranty. You gave me a 10-year warranty on this roof. I don't know if you guys are going to be here. Coming from the East Coast, my ex-father-in-law owned a roofing company. You get storm chasers. And it was crazy. It was like you get hail and then all these places show up and then they're gone. And it's like one day they just all stayed. And then Idaho just kind of did the same thing with roofing companies too. And I've been friends with like on Instagram and stuff with roofing companies that are trying to get like, everybody acts like I can give them $1 million dollars worth of business. I can just suggest, it's up to the sellers usually, but I've seen so many roofing companies come and go to where I'm like, hey, call one of the big companies. I know maybe we don't like to, but first of all, they've got the money. But just because they got 30 trucks going around, it gives you a little more security. And so you kind of want your Uncle Bob who knows how to do plumbing to do it because it's cheaper and this, and this. But it's like, okay, what kind of warranties do we have now?
Yeah.
So now you kind of have to, you got to do the research. At some point, you roll the dice. There's going to be a bad egg in every one of them. But I watched that same thing. I've watched those, like especially with GCs, they got their boys.
Yeah.
Idaho's still a good old boys club.
Oh, yeah.
Very much a good old boys club. And I've weaseled my way into a few of them, which has been nice. But at the same time, I don't care. I don't care if the seller hires me. I don't care if the buyer hires me. I don't care if the builder hires me. That report's going to look probably the exact same because my favorite thing is like, I love doing home inspections. My number one goal, not to provide a good home inspection. It's just to not get sued. And the byproduct of that is I'm going to give you the best home inspection.
The best home inspection.
Yeah. I don't want to get sued and I don't want a phone call. And so, yeah, you run into the good old boys that have done some work and sometimes they do a fantastic job and you got really lucky. Like, hey, my buddy Mike, he's been plumbing for 30 years. He doesn't care about money. And I found some inspectors that are like that. And that pisses me off because I'm like, hey, raise your rates, man. We shouldn't be doing $300 inspections anymore. And you see that too. It's like sometimes it's some guys that from the military and they're getting money. They've already retired from the military or police or something. And they're doing it kind of as a hobby. And they might be really good at it. I've seen some guys that are really good at it, but I'm like, you're hurting the rest of us too, man. Like doing a $299 home inspection, you're not doing anybody any favors. So we're most cautious we've ever been. Social media and the internet does not help at all either. We're always scared. And that's the thing. People rarely leave reviews when they're happy.
Right.
Yeah. So if you see a plumbing company that's got 42 reviews, average of like 3.5 stars or something like that, I look at them like, I'm still kind of biased. Oh, they're probably terrible. But then part of me too is like, they might actually be really good. Who knows? So at some point, you just got to roll the dice.
I will say by nature, when I'm looking at companies, when I'm looking at restaurants, because I do love the Google review thing.
Yeah, for a restaurant for sure.
But even like a company who's going to do some work for me, I always want to read, like I'll look at the reviews and I go to the 1 star and I'm like, what was the issue? And it's not because I want to read bad things about the company, but I want to know what was your issue that maybe, one, people are notorious for not being able to communicate properly, right? If you're not really saying exactly what it is that you want, but you're expecting a different result, hello, insanity. But also, how can you put the blame on the company when you never really came out and said that that's what you needed? Or the company responses are my favorite when they're like, we told you that we would do this. And that's something that I do encourage companies to always reply, especially to those bad reviews. It's hard sometimes to reply to all the good ones. You also don't want to make it like inflated, right, all the time. But the bad ones, if there's a justification and maybe that client or the, consumer was in the wrong, then you definitely want to clarify a little bit, because it just shows good on you, and it shows, hey, we were willing to, whatever it is. I'm not saying you, I'm saying in general.
Yep.
But I love that. I love that.
I remember my first 4-star review, and it was so funny to me. And you can tell the person that wrote the review was very analytical, and it was the whole review was like a compliment of like, oh, I highly recommend them. I would use them on my next time. Or it might have been a 3. No, I think it was just a 4-star. Anyways, it wasn't a 5-star. And he loaded like pictures from my report onto the Google thing, and it was a very thorough review. But he was admitting he was mad at the problem that I couldn't solve because like furniture was in the way. The house was staged, and he's like, yo, Peak does a great job, very thorough, uses a thermal camera, and he lists all these things I did well. And then he's just like, but he didn't find this leak that was hidden. And I'm like, thanks.
Not your job to move the furniture.
Appreciate that, my friend. Yeah, like I got a house, and a year after I moved into my house out here, the upstairs bathroom started leaking. Like it happens.
It's life. Yeah. It's the life cycle of the house.
Yeah, like I said, you got to roll the dice at some time. But like, I was just so funny with that review. I kind of wanted to screenshot it and show everybody, like, hey, I can't see if this couch is blocking this wall. I'm not pulling couches out. There was even a thermal picture of the room, so there's a regular photo of the room, because we have to do so much CYA. Like, I've got pictures of everything. And so I just thought that was funny. My first 4-star review, I think it's my only non-5-star review still. And it's just something like that.
I think there are some people who are just hardwired to not give a 5-star review.
1,000.
Because I used to work in a service department for a car dealership, and I've had so many jobs.
That's a whole podcast on itself.
And we had a review system, and the service writers would say, okay, and you're going to get a survey. And if there's any reason you can't give me a 5-star review, I want you to call me.
Beautiful.
Because I want to know what I can do to make it a 5-star review. And it was like the psychology, and we would talk about it all the time, of these people who are happy with your work, but they just are disinclined to do a 5-star review. But if you say something like that, like, well, why wouldn't, what would make it from a 4 to a 5? And then they really would be like, well, nothing. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It's such a weird mindset that some people have.
And that's kind of what my email that goes out when I ask for reviews. I'm like, hey, if it's not a 5-star review, respond to this email. Let's either email or let's jump on the phone or something and figure it out. And most of the time, people just want to be heard. And that's what it comes down to.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I do that also. If it's anything less than 5-star, please give me a call and we'll talk. But I think when you take such an immense level of pride in the job that you're doing and in the work you're doing and the care and every step of the way with your inspections, with me guiding clients through transactions, you know that you literally did everything you could. And sometimes, in my case, the job of the other agent as well.
Yeah.
So you're trying to kind of navigate all of that. But when I can look at every situation I've done with pride and say, well, thank God, like I am I'm selling my soul to make sure that everyone is happy and that everyone, has a great experience, because that's so important. You remember that. You remember the shit that you had. It's the same reason I only call you and the same reason I'll only use you. I have a listing coming up. They're a little past a year. So he had his initial inspection. He had his 11-month warranty. And he had asked me, because he wasn't my client to purchase. He's going to be my client to sell. And he had asked me, this is the company we used. Do you have experience with them? I said, absolutely, I have experience with them. Is that who you'd recommend? I said, I would 1,000% recommend Joey McPeek with Peak Home Inspections, because he's got the prior training from not in this state where it's so easy to get your license or your certificate or whatever it is. When you have that backing and you have that, it's almost like a guttural training because you've gone through the shit to get there. You put in all the legwork. You did all the time. Nobody can really say that. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I would say that my skill set is forged by anxiety. So like, so like going back to the Carolinas, I'm working for one of my closest friends. Like he's my mentor. He's a lot older than me, but he's a very close friend of mine. And I don't want to get him sued. And he was very direct with me. We weren't friends when we were working together. Like he forged me. And so, I mean, there's so many nights when I first started that I just could not sleep. And I'm sitting there, I'm like waiting for him to call me of, hey, you missed this picture in this report. Why did you word this like this? You sound stupid. Like all the stuff that was needed to make me the inspector I am now. And I still, like, if I forgot to take one thermal photo or something, I'll pace my house. Like I can't, one, I'm super competitive. So I want to be the best no matter what. Two, I care a lot and I don't want my name to be tarnished. So like if you get me or you get one of my inspectors, those are the top 3 inspectors you're going to get in Idaho. And even I always joke about Joe when he was my first inspector I hired. I have to pull him back. He's better than I am. If I'm being honest, he's got this very militant mind. He's very precise and he's very analytical, and everything he does is perfect to be a home inspector. Whereas I get a little ADHD sometimes when I'm out there, and that was the part too where like my phone's constantly ringing, or I'm doing business side of stuff where I can't be a dedicated inspector. And so that's why I had to make a lot of changes this past year with my company. It's kind of a sink or swim thing of like, you're either here's how we're going to do it. You're going to get the best possible inspection you're ever going to get. You might be mad at how we do that, but this is the sacrifice you'll have to make so we can make that same sacrifice. And so one question, and I do want to talk about this because I do want to ruffle some feathers.
Hold on before we ruffle feathers.
Okay.
I'm trying to hold this and trying to keep it low. Joey, ruffle some feathers.
So
That is what we're here for.
Ruffle them up.
So like I said, I'm very competitive, and ultimately I do want to give the best possible inspection. You could ruffle that mic a little bit.
I ruffle it every time.
Yeah.
I'm a ruffler.
Yeah, that one's a drifter on you.
Okay.
But so one thing that was absolutely killing us, and we always like to joke, like I think COVID shifted people. Like we are such a selfish, me first mentality like now with people. And it's very, very difficult because like when I first started, there wasn't like, it takes 1 out of 100 to ruin your year. And that's all it takes. Now it's like 25% of these people I know are just going to be mad about something for some reason. And it doesn't. And like I said, they're probably just stupid. And nobody's ever had anything like I've never missed anything, knock on wood, where I've like every time somebody's accused me of something, I've been right, or my inspector's been right. So that's the kind of stuff that we like to do. So the question that I'm going to start this with is, I want both of your answers because this is my main justification for this. Let's say you're buying a house, you hired me as your home inspector, and that seller was there and he's just talking to me, distracting me. I miss a couple things. I miss a leak or something, a few things. Who are you going to sue?
The home inspector.
You're coming after me. Mm-hmm. Is that my fault?
No.
It's not my fault, right? And it's tough because yes, it is my fault.
I mean, like it would be argued, right? I'm like, logically it would be argued.
Are we going to court over $500, $600, $800, right? Probably. Some people love it. Hopefully not. I haven't had to yet, knock on wood. But well, I guess I do got one coming up, but that's a different story.
That's a different story.
Yeah. But so that's the thing is a home inspection is, I kind of refer to it as like your mechanic. You don't sit there and watch your mechanic the entire time he's working on your car. There's a reason they don't let you back in the shop. One, there's liability reasons, because the same thing, like if you step on my ladder when I'm not looking, home inspector's been sued for that. Oh yeah, I let my client on the roof, or I got up on the roof and next thing I look over and he's up here with me, like stuff like that. Like I'm going to get sued for that, right? Something gets stolen from the house, which I've been accused of before. I sent pictures. I was like, what do I need 8 pairs of women's shoes for? I don't even know what like expensive
There's a fetish
men's
for
shoes
everything.
are. Yeah. I was like, don't check the crawl space. But I'm like, I don't even know what like expensive men's shoes are. I don't care about women's. I'm like, pretty successful home inspector. I don't need to steal people's stuff. And I'm like, you had 23 people come in for an open house. Like, so there's so many factors, right? And the problem too, so social media things like a double-edged sword. People want to come, they want to see me. They want the home inspection to be an event. I want it to be my job. and I can't turn my job into an event. And it just got to a point where like people were coming by and turning the inspection to like this whole thing. And the other thing too is like, if you show up early, it takes 1 second to distract me. I'm doing my report on my phone. I might have taken a picture of something, and then you come in and say, you just come in and say, hey, what's up, Joey? Good to see you. I forget to click the little button to put it in my report, and then you move into the house 2 months later, and you're like, well, you told me about it, or you didn't tell me about it, like something like that. And I'm like, shoot, I remember seeing it. I got a picture of it in my folder here, and I was like, why didn't I put it in the report? So there's so many little things that could happen, and little things like that were happening, and I got tired of it. So back last summer, I was like, I don't have a life anymore. We're waiting for people nonstop. We're holding people's hands nonstop. What's the point of us doing this thorough report if I just have to read it to you? When's the last time you bought a book and asked the author to read it to you? Like, you buy the book so you can read it, right? And so I'm like, I'm tired of holding people's hands. Like, and I get it. There is a level of like customer service and understanding that helps when you're there at a home inspection. But ultimately, it got to a point where it was hurting us way more than it was helping us. And we started recording how much time we were wasting letting people come to inspections. And it was over 12 hours a week. That's a day and a half worth of work. Either us waiting on people or people just wasting our time. Hey, one more thing. I'm like, well, what's the point of me doing this report for you? Like, I can't do a thorough report. And so, for example, I had an inspection yesterday. It took me 6.5 hours. I didn't know that until I pulled up. That inspection could have taken me 3 hours. Like, I do not know until I pull up. And I have an afternoon appointment too. So it just got to a point where people want to make the inspection like an event.
That's wild. I have never once been to an inspection.
And so it comes down to, like, back in the Carolinas, I think it's getting more popular, but when I was there, not many people showed up. And so that's what I was kind of used to coming out
I didn't
here.
even know that was an option.
Well, it's not with him anymore.
Well, yeah. I mean, it really shouldn't be.
No.
Yeah, and well, and it's one of those things, too, of like, I get it, I understand it. Everything that I say that's not in that report, when you and I are sitting here having this dialogue, is now it's speculation and liability. Like, you go into court, and because I've seen this, man. I've been in part of these Facebook groups with thousands of inspectors. Like, I've seen every example, and my job is to get you the best inspection report possible. If you want to, it's the other example I always like to tell people is like, imagine you have some work you need done to your car. You go in and you tell that mechanic he's got an hour and a half to do it. And if he can't get it done in that hour and a half, you're basically just going to sue him for the stuff that he can't get done.
And then you're going to be in the bay yapping the whole time.
Yeah, right. And so, like, man, I can't finish this inspection, or I got an hour left, and then now you're here and distracting me, and this. It just got to a point where it was so bad. So one thing that I did do to kind of counteract that now is actually just got kind of released like I'm famous now. Hey, check this thing out, my brand, this new drop. But one thing that we're going to start doing this year, Joe and I are two of the only certified master inspectors in Idaho. And so we're going to do a peak premium inspection now. And this is a fully interactive thing. You're going to pay double because you're going to rent us for the whole day. But for the people, the engineers that need to be there the whole time, you're going to meet me in the driveway at 8:30, and you're going to do the entire inspection with me. I'm going to go through, because nobody knows your house.
Crawlspace and all?
No. They can pop down there. I've had one guy go through. I just can't let you get on a ladder. If you want to get in the crawl space, you're more than welcome to. But I'll kind of maybe see if you hang out by the hatch. But if you want to crawl, I've had, like, one of my buddy's dads. He was a plumber for years, and he's like, I'm going through that crawl with you. I was like, come on with me.
Come on.
Yep. And so it's going to be like, nobody knows your house as well as the home inspector does. And my job as a home inspector is to translate that into a report. That's a lot of information sometimes. So I can't expect you to just know all this stuff. So we're going to do this new thing. You meet us in the driveway, 8:30. We're going to talk about disclosures, talk about your needs, your wants, like your suspicions, whatever problems you might have. You're going to go through this boring inspection with me, and you got to plan on like 4 to 6 hours. Like, you're renting us for the day. I'm going to take you through everything. You'll know that house better than the current owners will. And I've done a couple of those already. It's worked out really well.
Yeah?
Yep. So it cuts down on my report writing, because I don't have to do these videos and a ton of other stuff, because I've already showed you in person. Like, okay, the water heater is leaking. I don't have to do a 30-second video holding your hand in a report explaining it. Like, you were here with me. You saw it leak in real time and all this too. There's no confusion. You've already kind of got it mapped out in your mind.
That's a great idea.
And and that was the thing, is like, we're not getting paid for our time. And so when you show up and 15 people come by, or you're 15 minutes late, and I'm like, man, told my parents I'm meeting for dinner at 6. It's already 5 o'clock. And I don't have a family. I don't have a wife or kids, but if I did, I wouldn't be able to do that and do my job, because like the amount of times that I've had to stay till like 5 or 6 or 7 just trying to customer service, like I'm good at it and I enjoy it and I like helping people, but it's also a career and I have a life outside of this. And that took my life away. You know, it was so tough. Like when are realtors showing houses? On the weekends. When is my phone lighting up? On the weekends. What do I like to do on the weekends? Not inspections. I like to go fish. I like to be out of service. And so it was one of those things. I was coming home and I got 14 missed calls and 100 text messages that I have to try to answer now. And like, so I had to automate everything. I've got, got an office that handles a lot of that. Everything can be booked online. If you want to come by the inspection, you can pay for it. I'd love to have you there. You'll get me for that whole day. I won't book another inspection that day because I want to make sure all of your needs are taken care of. But if you just want the most thorough and documented home inspection you can possibly get, just go let us work. I mean, there's just there's a lot of pros for you showing up to inspection, but there's more cons, is how I felt about it. And that ruffled a lot of feathers. I had to have a lot of hard conversations, and I lost some like real good realtor referral partners, but I was turning down 10, 15 inspections a week during the summer. So I'm either going to make this thing what I want,
Yeah,
or I'm going to do something else.
You need a life. You need to have the balance. I'm so happy. I remember, I think the first time that I had called you and your office answered, and I'm like, wait, what? So, because I didn't know it was coming, but that was probably better. Like, better for me. I don't make big stinks about anything. I'm pretty chill regarding that stuff. And especially with you, because I know you and I respect you. And I'm like, okay, I get it. When you explained it to me, I'm like, absolutely. Mm-hmm. When you're that accessible, and that's the issue, say with my job, I don't really put guidelines on it because I don't want to lose a client.
Sure.
In that sense. You're doing multiple things a day. Mm-hmm. It's a different business model. It's still client driven. The realtor and the buyer or the seller, if it's that inspection, is your client. But for me, it's like realtors that don't answer their phone.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I have had more experience with that in Idaho than I ever did selling real estate in San Diego.
Really?
Nobody answers their phone.
I believe that 100%.
I'm trying to show your house.
I can't tell you the last time I answered my phone, but I'm not a realtor, so it doesn't matter.
No, but it's like, call the listing agent to make an appointment, and then the listing agent doesn't answer, or they don't work on Saturdays or Sundays, but that's when my client's available to see the house. So they make it so complex. We need to at least be in contract to call you. So there's a lot of, I get it though, the taking advantage. If you give everyone an inch, they're going to take it.
They just keep taking advantage of it. And like you and I talked about it before too, of like, I had the number that I started my business on. I can't control that kind of volume anymore. Cause like I said, like I would get, when Joe first started with me, it was so funny to watch. Like it got to a point where like, as he got better and could do inspections by himself, it wasn't in my back pocket and we're just teaming up doing inspections together. He's doing 90% of the inspections because I'm calling people the whole time. I'm emailing people back. I'm texting people. And again, not to be rude, but 90% of the crap people ask me, they don't need to. Everybody wants to be spoon fed now, or it's just a dumb question. And like you made a great point too, of like, you're there for your client, you're representing them. That's the only thing that client has going on. I got 6 of these a day my team is doing. Now, I can't do, thank the good Lord, I've been able to be successful enough to where I can fire people. And it's such a good feeling. People that are thinking I owe them something because they're bringing me business. And I'm like, oh, no, guess what? Your number's blocked. I'm not doing inspections for you ever again. Yep. And so, and I've got like, my admin keeps a list. We've got like 25 people on a blacklist that absolutely cannot. One of them hit my website this morning. She's got, all my numbers are blocked from her. Blocked her on Outlook, and she's still trying to book inspections through my website. And I'm like, decline, not responding back on the pre-chat form. So like, because I don't have time to deal. If it takes you 75 touches per inspection. So it comes back to, like I said, I've been in sales. Like there's a sales cycle for every single thing. And if I'm selling even a house a month, that house is all I care about. And I'm going to represent my clients the best. If I was a realtor, I'd do the same thing. I've been in that side of things, like that's all I care about. I'm just one small piece of this thing. I'm not making nearly as much. Like it's not going to take me nearly as much time. I'm not sitting at tables closing. I'm not doing as much either. I can't be involved in like 45 email chains. Like, and I want to help, but I'll be honest with you. If you're asking a question, it's probably not valid. And I hate to be mean, but people need to sack up. This is not the age anymore where we can just sit around and like, bully people over. Like I've talked to other like small business owners, like just because I've been vocal like on TikTok and stuff, and they're like, no, this isn't the customer's always right thing anymore. Like I became an entrepreneur because I like wearing shorts every day. I like wearing a hat, and I don't like authority. And you ask my mom, I've never done good with authority. That's why I could have never gone into the military. So when people start trying to tell me what to do, that's when we run into some problems. So I had to eliminate a lot of that. And that's the problem is, name the last job you had. How many bosses did you have? You might have a manager, they might have a manager, and maybe then CEO, whatever. You got really kind of 1 to maybe 2 people you're reporting to. I've got thousands that are telling me how to do my job every day, and they're clients and realtors. And I'm like, you're hiring me because I'm the expert. I do this daily. I know this is a one-off thing for you, and it's very important. And I want to show you that level of respect. And I will communicate with you. It's not like I'm blocking everybody. That's what everybody thinks is like I'm just blocking people off. But like when you don't have a direct line to me, it's crazy how in 2 more seconds you figure out the problem, like the answer to your question. And that's what we've cut off a lot of. And it's helped us tremendously because now we're better inspectors. If I have like, here's the thing, if I know you're showing up at 11, I'm going to rush the rest of that inspection. I don't care. I've got one, I'm going to eat lunch as I'm driving to be late to my next appointment every single day because you guys want to sit there and talk. And then you're like, oh, well, my dad's going to be here in 15 minutes. Can you go over this? I'm like, no, I'm not. I have to be a dick. And that now I look worse doing that in person than I do if I kind of set those guidelines beforehand. And the realtors that are real busy and the people that just hate going to inspections, they love it. I'm like, I'll take all that business. And the people that insist on, like, some people just act like if they can't be there, like, because I've had to have this conversation so many times, if they can't be there with the client, then the entire thing is pointless. And this is where I'm trying to like draw the line. I'm like, that's kind of shady to me of like, you've told me that I'm the best home inspector, but you won't recommend me to clients anymore because I don't hold their hand through stuff. I'm like, it's like, hey, this guy's the best roofer I've ever met, but he does things a little different. I'm going to give you this kind of B-level guy now just because he's going to do what I ask him to. I'm like, I don't get controlled. Sorry, I'm out.
You're a part of the equation for a transaction, a big part because it sets a lot of the tone.
Sure.
But you're not the hand holder.
Yep.
And I do understand where that would be very detrimental, not only to your business in a business sense, but just that balance that you have in your own life. Because how are you supposed to be everything to everyone and you're only a portion of this equation?
Yeah.
But they just want it is the hand holding. Everyone does need to just sack up because
They do. It's. I mean,
now I will disclaim. Like that's my job. I love guiding.
Me too.
It's guiding.
Yeah.
Well, and I was going to say, isn't that the realtor's job? I don't think I've ever talked to a home inspector. We get the report and I call the realtor and be like, well, is this critical or is this like, I've never once called but I also am not calling, I don't call my one specific guy who changed my oil.
Yeah.
You call the office, the shop office. Like that's what the realtor is there for.
This is and when I say sack up, I obviously don't mean my clients. I mean, when you're working with professionals like this, this is not their job to do this. It is my job.
Yeah.
And then if there is a question, which like you're saying, 90% are dumb because they shouldn't even be answered. If there's something that's so baffling to you, but I mean, your reports are thorough, they're crystal clear. There is no room for questions between all of the words and the findings and the photos and everything that you have.
Yeah.
There's no room for questions. It really must be that one person who has to just be taken to the finish line with the hearing of the voice. Like, I have to make myself heard, have to know that I got that validation back, right?
Yeah.
That this was done. Okay. It was good, right? Like, good? You're not worried?
Yep.
Good.
Let me hit. Yep.
Good.
Yep. Okay. Good. Yeah.
I do think there are people who ask questions just to hear their own voice.
Sure.
Yeah.
Of course. That's
and
anything.
the good news is my business just cut all those people out.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
that's
now-
the beauty of owning your own business
Yeah.
is that you can build your clientele that you don't have to work with the people you don't really want to work with.
Yeah. And the thing is I've, like when I first started doing this and I had to have this conversation with realtors who were so upset and people that I had really good relationships with. It's just so funny how people switch up when it's on, when it affects them now.
When it's
like,
not on their
Joe, you have to have
terms.
your own life, this, and this. Like, I can't believe this. And in a second I do something where I get my own life that affects them. They're like, they start panicking and freaking out. Now, well, we're going to use another inspector. I'm like, cool, I don't care. I'm still turning down inspections every week. Yeah, the people that love me. But the thing too is like the amount. It's literally every week that I'm still fighting this a little bit, and that's to be expected. Somebody will, like the realtor or the client will just, every other home inspection I've been at, I've been there the whole time, or I've showed up to the end for a review, and I kind of hit them like, hey, you can cancel the inspection. That's perfectly fine with me. I've got a backlog here, right? I can fill this in an hour. I was like, but if you're going to have the best inspection you'll ever have, and you will be surprised, I promise you. It will not be like any other inspector you've ever met. And every single one of those, I can show you an email from yesterday, the exact same thing. I think I put it on my, I did put it on my Instagram story. Yeah, if you look at my Instagram story right now, there's a screenshot from an email. And it's like wanted to be there, had a million questions. I answered all those questions on email beforehand, which saves me hours on the phone. Like, hey, if you have a question, shoot me an email. But every one of those people are, their response every time, best inspection I've ever seen. I can't believe how thorough you are. I did not know home inspectors like this exist. Every single week, I turn these doubters into lifelong clients. And it's because, like, ultimately, I think we do want the best product. And sometimes we have to push and fight a little bit to get there. And if you're the person that can't understand why I'm doing this, thank God this weeded you out, because you're the same person that's going to call me in 6 months and tell me your water heater's leaking. And then I'm going to have to go through that. I'm going to send you pictures from the report showing the water heater's not leaking. I had a lady do that. I just had to send me a demand letter from an inspection back in June. And I'm like, well, here's a picture. Here's 7 pictures of your water heater. One's a thermal photo, and it's not leaking. And then it's so funny. I loaded her second email into ChatGPT, or her husband reached out to me first, and I sent him all those. I was like, hey, sorry, dude, I'm not paying you the $22.50 that it cost you to replace that water heater. And so the second email, she steps in now. The husband couldn't handle it, so like a month later, the wife comes in. I was like, hey, I'm going to forward you the same email I sent him. Like, here's 7 pictures of your water heater. Here's the top of it that you're saying is leaking. You said there's water in the pan. Here's a picture directly of the pan with no water in it during the inspection. She didn't like that, so she ChatGPT'd this wild response, and so I loaded it up into chat, and it's like, oh yeah, 95% ChatGPT. and so I even responded to her. I was like, next time, don't have ChatGPT write your response. You're still invalid. And then so my attorneys sent them a letter and shut them down. Like it's, and those are the people that we're unfortunately dealing with. Like, there's no water on that table right now. I take a picture out, I put it in my report. And in 6 months, there's water on that table. You guys are coming after me. And I'm like, hey, there's the inspection. And then people will see that, and they'll still be like, well, you still need to pay for it, or I at least want my inspection fee back. And so that's what I'm saying. So those people. They used to be like 1%. I swear it's like 10 to 15% of clients.
You think
now.
COVID did that? I see so much of the entitlement and the hand-holding and all of these things, but these false expectations, I think, also since COVID and since we came out of it.
Yeah. The other thing too, and I'm not blaming like people in general, like I think it's a defense mechanism that we can't really help, because now it's like we don't trust our government. We don't trust people around us. We hate everybody because of their political views. We hate everybody we're finding reasons to hate people instead of finding reasons to love people. I grew up in the Bible Belt. I used to want to be a missionary. Like I used to love people until I started being a home inspector. And, when I have to deal with thousands of them a year now, and now I start getting a little disrespectful. I got to stand up for myself. But I think it was around that COVID time. It was like, I've talked to other agents and other people and home inspectors across the country too. And there's been this shift. It's not necessarily that. It's just like, I think me reaching out to you is going to scam me somehow. Like, and people are just so defensive, and they're trying to protect the house. I don't think they realize how far they've crossed that line. And it was not blaming COVID, but it was right around that time where something definitely changed.
But, with COVID, and we've talked about this before, there was a shift. It happened a few years prior to COVID, I'd say, specifically like 12, Obama. It happened,
George Bush,
carry the two.
9/11.
Yeah. During COVID, because that hate was so created from the media of, you have to stand there, and if that person's not vaccinated, then they're killing your grandma, and da-da-da. They started programming everybody with this hate. So now that hate is just carried on, and it's been perpetuated, and it's gotten worse and worse. I mean, we live in an era where You have politicians that are slamming our own country. And I've never, with all the performative cussing, I've never lived in an era where that's okay because it just looks tacky.
Yeah.
Jasmine Crockett. Like, that shit looks tacky. You're an elected official. Represent the people with some class. I'm allowed to cuss because I'm not an elected official. But
well, and you're not here in a professional capacity. You're just sitting here having a conversation. Like, that's totally different.
Right.
Like, you're not, you know, talking to clients and realtors, just cussing a blue streak and, you know, telling off-color jokes. And yeah, I don't hardly trust any subcontractors because I've seen it. I've seen who we've had in the Valley before everybody started moving in. There's a lot more options now. But I also know how to ask questions and I know how to look things up and I know how to I don't just walk around pointing the finger at everybody.
Yeah.
But I also, you know, we've talked about that before. Like, COVID made it an encouraged behavior to like rat people out. And I think that that's a weird, easy mentality to fall into. It's the same as being offended.
Yeah. And social media has got a lot to blame for.
Yeah.
I mean, I've built my business on social media. Like I've mentioned a few, it's a double-edged sword in so many ways. It's a great tool. I've used it to market. I've used it to grow. And it kind of feeds, I do like a little conflict. I like talking crap to people. So like, that's the thing. People, you know, a business, like so many boomers on Facebook are like, you own a business. I can't believe you would talk to me like that. I'm like, and then I'll screenshot a picture of their dumb looking kids or something like that. And I'll put it as the comment. Like, dude, don't talk to me like that, man. First of all, none of y'all can beat me in a fight. So
don't watch how you speak. Pops.
Yeah, times change, Grandpa.
We're allowed to talk about
this. Yeah, or I post a video and there's 7 million different comments of right, wrong, or indifferent. So like, we're at an age too where like we think, and I talk to my therapist about this a lot. I'm very black and white. It's either right or it's wrong. This couch is either green or it's not. Yeah. And the amount of people I have to argue with of this couch not being green is insanity to me. And there's part of me that'll never wrap my head around that. And that's where that kind of conflict comes in. And I'm like, it's easy for me. I don't have to try to explain to them like, well, the color hues mix it. I'm like, no, you're just stupid. That couch is green. Like, and I don't have time to sit here and try to hold your hand through all of it. So like everything's very black and white. But you know, watch any electrician TikTok. They can post one thing and they'll cite code. Like in our minds, you guys aren't in the construction industry. What do you think about when you hear the code book? It's like you think it's either right or wrong.
Sure,
like, oh, the code says you can do it or you should do it. You know how much of that book is left to interpretation? So like you've got 30-year master electricians with different opinions. You have to understand too. So that kind of gives me a little bit of grace too as a home inspector. Of like, I need to understand, like, I know what my lane is. I can have my opinion, but I have a photo and a video, and if anything, I always err on the side of safety. So whether I'm right or wrong, and I'm like, hey, you can't put 2 wires into that circuit breaker because, you know, that they can overheat, expand, and contract it, or it's not supposed to do that. And an electrician comes out and he says, no, that's a square D. You can put 2 copper wires in that one. 1, I just learned something. 2, he's right. 3, it's printed on the circuit breaker. And but at the same time, I made a mistake, but maybe I erred on the side of safety.
Yeah.
Yep.
Always better to err on the side of caution with anything.
Yep. And so, like doing inspections specifically, that's kind of where I like to hang out in that area too. Like, so everybody wants to argue and be with social media, and that part's fun for me. But you know, at the end of the day, I still did what was best for that client. And if I posted some video online where 700 people disagree with me, and then 1,400 people agreed with me, like, makes me feel good. It's like,
I'm glad that you've gotten to this point in your business and your own personal life, though, where you've limited access. I think that's such a crucial part of just, especially this time frame and this era, I'd say, that we're going through, of limiting access to yourself. Who gets it? Why are you getting it? Is it conducive to my own personal well-being, mental, physical, and my growth? Like, is this good to my business? Is this good for anything? A lot of people don't do that, and that's you weren't doing that at the beginning, which is why you were so inundated.
Yep.
But now that you've done it and you have a life again, how amazing!
you
can fish again. You can fish again, Joey. This is so glorious.
I know. It was like I couldn't fathom. I was like, I can't believe I created a business that sucks this bad. Like, you know, and I always wonder too. Like, I would see my mentor get so upset sometimes, and like I said, I was like, I'm a pretty chill guy. I've worked with people. I've been in sales a lot too. I'm like, I'm here to help people. now I don't want to do that anymore. Like, it's like they forced me to be this way, and I can see why he's angry all the time. And so like with TikTok and even Instagram, my office will tell me like, yeah, some guy from Louisiana just called. He wants to know if you can call him back. Like, why? Like, because he has a question about his own house. Like, it's like you have to, the amount of people that just see me online or things like, or somebody says, hey, ask a home inspector. And the first guy you click on. And so like, I can't put my phone number, I got two, I got a personal and a work number, but like only like 20 people have my work number, you and like 10 other people in my team. But like, I told you the other day, the amount of times that I would wake up in the morning, and when Do Not Disturb came out, that was all cool too. But like the amount of texts when I first started this business that would wake me up at like midnight or 1 a.m, really made me upset. And then, okay, turn that off. It's not like I was responding to them, but then I would wake up and D&D would go on, and I'd wake up and there's still 4 or 5 messages. And I'm just like, oh, it's like, so now I'm starting my day with a to-do list. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, now I got to wait till 8 to call this person, and I'm trying to get this inspection started. Whereas like when you take that away, people find a way to fend for themselves, and the ones that don't make it, then that's just natural selection. Like, yeah, like
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, what happens if all these grocery stores shut down? You better learn how to do some gardening. You better learn how to hunt. Like you'll find a way to figure out your problem, the solution to your problem. And so, yeah, so minimizing the way people, and so that's where a lot of negative feedback has come to me of like, everybody thinks that I don't want to talk to people. If you've got a question, I know I make a joke about it, like 99% of the time it's probably stupid, and it probably is. I still don't mind helping you with that. But when my phone number's plastered on that report, I'm getting calls and texts and emails, and I'm like, hey, page 14 of the report, the one in the red with the picture, it says like, hey, whatever. And so when people have to go and you take one of their steps away, I can just text the home inspector. Like, no, please don't, man. Like I deal with thousands of these people a year. And so that's kind of again, like if I was a part-time home inspector and I only booked out like 2 or 3 of these a week for fun, man, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'll be glad to answer you. And I do want to be a resource for people. Shoot me an email. I can't have a 30, like if I let that go, I would probably have over an hour worth of conversations that didn't need to be have every day on the phone.
Well, and how many of those questions are the same that 5 other people asked you last month?
Yeah, and that's one of the first things my mentor taught me too, right? Of like, if it's going to come up on every single inspection, when I fast forwarded my career by a lot, I took all of his inspection knowledge, 2, all of his like working with people knowledge, and he's like, I see it in the first 10 reports, and so I make sure that question gets answered in there, and that takes away maybe 90% of the time that call would happen. So, it's definitely interesting. But I do enjoy like the position my business is in now because I do have a life, and you know how it is. I mean, like you work with lenders, realtors, like there's like, I would never be a lender. I think it's like, cause they got to be on the horn, and it's what have you done today for me kind of thing. Like I watch them, and like they constantly have to be on social media. They constantly have to go out to coffee, constantly have to be in front of people. And then at 7:00 on Saturday night, after you just got done showing houses, hey, can you
do a
Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. Now there's all these other questions that lenders need. And I'm like, unless I'm making like $1 million a year, none of that's worth it to me.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm not doing these for free. Like,
you know how expensive it is to live here? It's so weird.
Yeah.
For fun?
It's so expensive to live here. Like I got a regular house, and my mortgage tells me I should be on a lake somewhere. Like, when you see your boy work out on weekends, you see, I'm just excited to be here. But yeah, it's just limiting the amount of people and access that you have. You gotta cut people off, and it's for their own good.
It's for their own good. It's for your own good. I think the beauty of when you do finally cut off access to people is that you have to do it before you reach that point where you're like, I hate everybody, because it's the majority of people who treat everyone else as expendable, as they're entitled to having a response right then. Their priority is the only one that matters. Their question is the most important, and they're the most important person in the world. That's not the case. We all are individuals. We all are important, and no one is more important than, you know what I mean? There's no need to ever have that. So if you don't cut off access, and I mean, if you had probably continued your business, you would be burned out in a year, like the way you were doing it.
Yeah. You know? Well, I mean, that was my thing of like, I had Cooper, Joe, and so I have 3 employees, and it hit a point back in the summer where I'm like, there's 3 families that plus myself that rely on me to bring this business in. And for me to hit a wall where I say, I would rather shut this business down and you guys all have to find new jobs. Because honestly, I was 50-50. I thought that was going to happen. I thought I would lose so much business to where I would have to go back and be a solo inspector again. And that's fine too. I'll charge $1,000 and I'll do 1 a day. And I know I would make, I'd make more money doing that than I would now. Like if I just dropped all this and became a solo inspector, but I want to build a team of the best inspectors. But I had to make that choice because it was destroying me and I was killing them. When I got an inspector that's making really good money telling me you might have to do something else, that's a problem because people are showing up and now somebody else showed up and now somebody else is asking them questions. And it's like, hey, we tried to give you guys something. Y'all ruined it. Here's how it's going to be. I'm willing to shut my whole business down. And one thing that everybody's just so scared to take a chance. The worst that could ever happen for me is I might make like $75,000 a year because I can pick up any sales job anywhere. Like that's easy for me. I can make $75,000 a year, and if I lose my house, I can still move in with my parents. Like I mean, that's my net, and I'm very lucky that I can say that at least. But like my net is pretty high from where if all disaster strikes and everything fails, I'm going to land pretty much on my feet. No matter I've been successful for a long time. So for me to for something in my life to happen to where I won't find success. That's pretty hard for me to fathom. So I'm going to make this business exactly how I want it. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I don't care. I'll go do something else or I'll revamp this and do it some other way. And I think that's where like adding that premium inspection is going to help. It's going to kind of scratch that itch for some people, because it's crazy. Like Idaho is still, I'm the most expensive home inspector out here and I should be. And I try to tell people that like I should be the most expensive.
You should be.
I've seen every other home inspector's report out here. I should actually be charging a lot more than I am. But with the premium inspection, like I want to be there. I want hands on. I want to talk to the guy. There's your solution.
Yeah,
I think that'll help.
That's perfect.
I hope it's working out so far.
Hey, so tell me about this transition when you started getting onto TikTok, and what's your most viral video that? Like one of your bestest, like your favorite viral videos on TikTok.
So really, I haven't even been doing TikTok for even a year yet. I think April. When was it? Well, I was kind of on it. I think it was March was the first time I ever made money on TikTok, last March. And so I'm like, well, I'm already putting this stuff on Instagram. And I was like, well, I kept having people tell me like, hey, you need to put it on TikTok. And I was like, I don't feel like learning a new thing. I didn't realize how much people were getting paid on TikTok. And I feel like that's kind of shifted too, but I didn't realize that people were like making money on TikTok, or I'd have done that a long time ago. So I start posting, and then this is going to be funny. I probably shouldn't even say this, but.
Oh yeah, now you have to say it.
So, to be monetized as a creator on TikTok, you have to have at least 10,000 followers. And I was stuck around like 5,000 followers for a while. And I wasn't doing a whole lot. I was just like, how everything is, the less effort you give it, the more it gives you back. And that's kind of what TikTok was at first. And so I did this framing inspection, and I like clickbaited the title. I'm like major structural issue, all red, all this stuff. And I'm going through and I'm explaining this truss system, and I'm saying that it's missing support, but it's a carry through truss. And so I knew what I was saying was completely wrong, but I knew it would get the right people fired up. And I blew up. I got like 4,000 followers off of it. And it kept going, comments after comments. And then I would see people like clipping it. I was like, ooh, crap, this is kind of getting like, it was like an engineer, like, this is why home inspectors are so stupid. and I'm like, I want y'all to know I did this on purpose. Like, I know what I'm talking about. And so I did that. I hit 10,000 followers, deleted the video. That was kind of the plan. So I was like, boom, I'm monetized. And then even like a month ago, I saw that video come back up again. I was like,
because it's the internet is forever.
Internet's forever. Yeah, I learned that lesson, but hasn't bit me yet. But even if it does, I can explain to them like, it's just a little guise here to get into TikTok. Yeah. But hit 10,000 followers on TikTok, and then I was like, all right, this is fun. I made think like $112 in March, and I was like, I'll do it for I'll waste a couple. And then next month I hit like 500. I was like, oh, okay, I'll do it for an extra $500 a month, and then I just kept plugging into it, and it just kept going up. And I've made several $1,000s in a month off TikTok. I think my highest month was back in August. I made like $5,000. And I was like, oh, that's $60,000 a year if I can keep this up. And then I don't know what happened. Like, even like please, for the love of God, I hate being called a creator. But all the other creators, like, they were kind of like, I was talking to other people in the industry, and there's been a shift. And so now I don't really care about TikTok anymore because it's not paying like it was. And I still get I've got 65,000 followers, I think, on TikTok. But you go look at people with millions of followers, they still only get 2,000 views. And it's just weird. A lot, the algorithm's constantly shifting. I became so obsessed with it when I started making that much money with it, whereas another reason why my inspections are taking so long, I'm getting content, baby. I'm getting paid off these things. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of shifted too. But the cool part is, it's brought in business, and that's what I care about the most, like keeping me and my team busy. So Instagram is my LinkedIn. TikTok is that Joey doesn't go to church. That TikTok Joey is a different animal. And then kind of the same thing now with one of my buddies YouTube. And I was like, I don't feel like doing long form stuff. Which I would like to do maybe eventually, but I started uploading a bunch of shorts, and then...
Oh, that's right, they're shorts.
Yeah, so I started throwing a bunch of shorts up there, and I opened it up one day, and I'm like, 40,000 views, and then I was 400 followers or subscribers or whatever, changes for everything. I was like, oh, interesting, I'm not getting paid off of it. I made 5 cents off Meta, Facebook, in November. I made $500.
You better 1099 that.
I'm going to have to.
You better pay your taxes.
Yeah, I'm on a boat after I saw that one come through. I'm getting
Boats
wrapped.
and hoes.
Yeah, boats and hoes. We're going to party. So... this year I made a decent amount of money off social media. I think I had a month where I made $500 off Facebook, but it's to the point now I'm just going to keep feeding the machine, just playing a slot machine at this point. If it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It has kind of taken a little bit of a tank, but I did get my first, I have a referral source when you're filling out my online thing to book book an inspection, and it said, saw you on YouTube. And I was like, oh shoot. It was kind of cool for me because I'm like, nice. Okay, I got all I remember when the TikTok stuff happened. And then kind of going back to when I got all the business was Instagram. I was just constantly you're a realtor. I can hey, Katusha, that's cool. Yeah. Oh, I hiked that mountain, or I've been there.
Yeah.
Last time I was in Vegas, and I can keep those conversations going. And that's what brings business. And then you're seeing what I'm doing every day. Whereas TikTok's just, it's its own.
It is.
It's a numbers game. You just throw as many videos that you can, and it's, if I go to the gas station right now and I buy 10 scratchers, one of them's going to hit, hopefully, right? That's kind of what you're doing with TikTok. Yeah.
You're rolling the dice on TikTok always.
Rolling the dice on TikTok. Yep. I'm doing it for fun and money. Instagram, I'm trying to be professional. That's where I try to connect with people the most and show them. Instagram is my advertisement. TikTok is just kind of for fun.
Okay.
And whatever, I don't know what YouTube's going to be.
For fun and play money. YouTube will be educational. People will like that for the educational aspect, and it'll probably be a good referral source for you.
When people want to learn things, they go to YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I, like everybody else, I was doing this before it became popular. I started designing a home inspector course. But that's what eventually I do want to have 30-minute segments of, hey, here's how you inspect a bathroom. And the thing is people love that kind of stuff. And I love that, when I first started doing Instagram, the amount of realtors are like, oh, I show, or they tag the client in one of my videos, hey, this is going to be your home inspector. This is the guy I was telling you about. Or they're like, hey, I sent your Instagram to people because of that last new construction video you posted. And it's my interview. Whereas, you know what I haven't done in about 3 years? Had somebody call me and ask me why I should be their inspector. I used to do that all the time. And I have to sit here and list out this, and this, and hit them with some sales lines and do all this other stuff. Well, I should be your inspector because I've got a permanent place now where you can see why I should be your inspector.
The internet is a beautiful thing because it's eliminating it's the vetting process.
It is. Yeah.
Anything you're reading, whether it's reviews, whether it's the social accounts, it's all the vetting process. And that is the interview process now for specific types of jobs, but also for other types of jobs that people want to make sure you're a decent human. But I love that. I think that's great for you.
Yeah.
Just in a general, holy shit. I have a question. My question is, since I moved to Idaho, I find that there's a lot of things that I hear, and my grandpa was a general contractor, and him and my uncle built a house, and built many houses, but built the house that I had before I moved to Idaho. And my question is, since moving here, I've heard so many things in terms of the maintenance on, you have to get your AC, and I've talked to Megan about this.
Oh, don't get me started.
ACs and furnaces adjusted or calibrated or whatever every year.
Servicing.
It's serviced, every year.
Well, they'll try to have you do it every 6 months.
Well, per the season.
Shysters.
And then it's the duct cleaning,
Yeah.
right? And all this shit. As a home inspector, how much do you think that's actually valid, or is this a money thing?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to ask it.
I can tell you what I do.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I've had, my parents had bought a house years ago, and I moved into it before they moved out here from South Carolina. And house was from 2004, I think. I had the ducts cleaned because there's a bunch of kids lived in the house. There's a bunch of crap in there. I could have got down there with a shop vac too, but they'll run their little tool through there. You buy an old house, and you've probably seen inspection reports where I'm like, man, there's a ton of dust when you look up in that return duct. Like, yeah, duct cleaning is good. You don't have to have it every year.
Well, and this is a dusty place.
It's a dusty place.
Yeah.
Yep.
Construction
And if you got a
always,
ton
too.
of pets and kids and
Yeah.
stuff inside too, maybe check it out again. But that's what your air filter's for. I get my AC serviced in the spring. I get my furnace serviced in the fall.
Every year?
Every year.
Okay.
Yep. Makes me feel good because you still got to practice what you preach too.
Sure.
Yep. And at least I know, I know what the process is. And the thing too is I'm not standing over them. You would think me being a home inspector, I'd sit there and bug them. I'm like, I let them do their job. Hey, here's the garage code, dude.
Well, you also practice what you preach in that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you practice what
Yeah.
you preach in many ways.
Which is so funny. My software company, they like, I get so frustrated sometimes. I'm such a hypocrite because I have a small question, but they want you to load their little chat bubble up and do this and this. I'm like, can I just shoot somebody an email, or like a 5-minute phone call is all I need? And then I just look at myself in the mirror like, you dumbass. You get it, you deserve it. But I'm like, hey, I understand. I'm still on your side for it. But no, as far as like maintenance and all that goes, I'm a big fan of yearly stuff. It's really just if you're doing what you're supposed to, changing your air filters. Being a home inspector is not hard. This is honestly, it's one of the easiest jobs and one of the toughest jobs, because if you do miss something, then it does suck. But if it looks wrong, it probably is. So like if you see like your backsplash at your sink and you need to add some caulk, my house is 15 years old, it's expanded, contracted. There are some maintenance things that need to happen there too. But yeah, I get my stuff serviced every year.
Okay.
Not scared.
Okay. Except the ducks. The ducks are like 3 to 5, maybe.
If even, yeah.
Okay, that's what I think the companies typically recommend, 3 to 5, but I guess it would depend on what's going on in the house as well.
Yeah, there's a little bit of snake oil and all that too. And I mean, duct cleaning is nothing but margin. They're not going through consumables or having to buy product to do that. They've got the same tools. I'm a big fan of that. Like, I didn't even get the duct clean in my house because I can look in them and see that they're not dirty. And then I was fine with that. If there was, I'd take a little shot back and pull some of it out like right there. But if it's a house that has been rode hard and pets and all this other stuff and dust everywhere.
Hard.
Yeah.
Did you
Rode hard,
ride
put up
your
wet.
house hard? Holy shit.
That's a common thing in our group text too as well. This house has been rode hard. Yeah. I don't know if that's a different.
I don't think I'm ever going to get that out of my head. I'm going to just think about that
Have you
every
heard
time.
that before?
No, every time I walk
Like that
into a
whole
house,
phrase?
No.
You're
What?
from
Or just
Idaho.
as a
No,
yeah.
as a house.
Oh,
as a house.
I was gonna say in
Like,
relation to a
as
house. No, but like
in relation
yeah,
to a
oh, yeah.
house.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up with horses, so
That's
like
what- yeah,
that's
rode
I
hard,
know
put up wet,
like
yeah. I got a horse tattooed on my body.
Yeah.
I know it. But yeah, so
German
you can.
houses.
That's the thing. We've walked into these 10-year-old houses and we're like, this is terrible. Yeah, and then you provide an inspection report and you put a bunch of stuff down and you hope that they don't come after you for something later. But most of the time that I've found, and kind of a separate story too, of like I've got somebody just sent me a demand letter for $50,000. It's just so funny. Like, I mean, I guess it's worth rolling the dice, but it might scare other people. It doesn't. I know what a demand letter is. I've been doing this long enough. I don't really care if it was my first year and somebody's like $50,000, and I'm like, call my insurance right away. And that's the other perception. People, I want everybody to know that we don't have an E&O like policy to where we just have $20 million sitting in the bank that we can just shell out. Like my E&O policy will like double or triple. And if it does that, I'm not going to be in business anymore. I'm not going to pay $30,000 a year for E&O insurance for your $20,000 claim. Like if it's valid, we'll go through that, but I'd rather pay it out of pocket than hit my insurance. But anyways, they move into the house. I'm looking back at the inspection report and there's like 90 things on this report. Yeah. So we'll get those buyer's remorse people. They move into the house, they hate it, and they're just lashing out at anybody. They might even attack their realtor. They come out at anybody that they can get. I get that several times a year. And I go back and I look at the inspection report and I'm like, brother, I gave you 80 reasons not to buy this house. You still bought it. And so these people moved in. We told them 2 places where there was mold. We told them where there was leaks. They moved in. They do an air quality test, and they find all this mold. And now they want $50,000 from me. I'm like, congratulations, you're an idiot. I sent their demand letter over to my attorney, and that was his response. He said, yeah, ... This guy's an idiot. So I mean, it might, worst case scenario, the most they can get from me is the inspection fee, which
But why?
they're not going to.
Yeah, but why?
Yeah. I just want them to know. I'm like, hey, read your agreement.
Read your agreement, read your contract. That is a contingency for you, everybody. If you don't like what's on the inspection and nothing is going to be done about it, you can get out of that contract because it's your right to be able to do that. That's a protection. It's one of your biggest protections. So to come after you, or I have heard of people then blaming their realtors, and I'm just like, was there a gun to anyone's head forcing them to buy this house? Did you have to buy this house, or did you choose to buy the house? Oh, it was a choice? No, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
You had all these red flags. You still bought it?
Okay.
And now you're mad? Cool. I get it.
Okay.
But I'm just in my lane too, so I know there's got to be a ton for you. And I do hear stories for realtors too. But like, I get it. You made a bad decision. You want to lash out. But that's what I hate is like realtors and contractors will like, the home inspector should have this. And I'm like, no, that's wrong most of the time. And I've had to defend myself. And I'll be honest, when it comes to what I'm looking at sometimes, I'm smarter than most plumbers, most electricians, most other people. And I'm a really good home inspector. But like I've had to defend myself against people that are like, well, the plumber came and did this and he said this is required. I won't even argue. I'll screenshot it. I'm like, hey, it's not. He's wrong. Here's the other thing too, is I can teach a monkey how to go and wire a house. I have immense respect for electricians because most of my friends are, and I always dog them online just for fun of it. So I'm going to dog some electricians. Like if you're a new construction electrician, you're a trained monkey. Mm-hmm. You don't understand a lot of this. You do because you're going through the process, but you're not applying it. Whereas I go look at a house with a panel from 1970, I know a lot more than you do about this. Now, I'm going to draw my line in the sand right there. I'm not skilled to fix a lot of this stuff, where I'll still call my electrician friends. I might know how to, but they do it every day. Like if they're, if they're service electricians, but I can teach an 18-year-old right out of high school how to make up a receptacle, how to run these home runs and this. And you just follow a plan and you staple some wires and you cut them right. And then it just becomes, I can pick up this table and move it over here. It just becomes natural stuff. So if you get a good home inspector that knows a lot of this stuff, and then you just kind of find yourself defending against dummies that don't know what they're talking about. Uncle Bob's Plumbing, who's like, oh, this should be this. I'm like, no, and here's why, or here's the code, even though we're not code inspectors. So it's just, I used to be a nice guy, and I'm just constantly defending myself now, and I blame people.
You're still an incredibly nice guy.
Thank you,
so I will give you that. It's like, to deal with it, it's so much. And coming from a different side of your same business, right? The same, different side. But it's a lot. You've got emotions high in transactions. You have everyone that wants everything to be perfect, and that's not really right. So yes, you almost want something wrong, but you want it to be the easy fix, or you want a clean inspection. Yeah. Nothing is better to me than a clean inspection with like some minor thing wrong, right? Yeah. Like the door is, the cabinets are off in new construction. And you're like, oh my God, that's such an easy fix. That's it. And then that also helps builders build and improve their reputation when they're consistently putting out, because you do a ton of new construction. And I love that, because you rip it apart when it needs to be ripped apart. And that's why your videos are so great too, because you're showing people the behind the scenes, behind the walls, and all the shit that you'll never know unless someone got in there and saw it. Yeah. Hence the pre-drywall.
Yeah. And Boise's not an anomaly, but they're fantastic just because what are we, the highest percentage new construction market in the country or something like that? I'm like 65, 70% new construction. And the hard part now is you book new construction, like a month out for the inspection or something like that. And so now when these resale contracts come up, like now that I'm slow, I've done more resale houses because they couldn't get in. There wasn't a spot left. So like in the summer or even the spring, I'm booked out. All 3 of us are booked out. I got 6 inspections a day, for 3 weeks from now. You go write a contract on a 2001 house, I might get 5 days. And so I'm getting the text of, hey, can you squeeze this in? And now I'm doing a 4 p.m. inspection or something like that. But like when we start rolling, it's all new construction. And new construction is another one of those ones where it can take me forever. I mean, I can go into this house here, go into the same model 2 houses down, and take me double the time. You just never know. And that's what I've got some issues right now with a local builder who's not doing any favors for themselves. But like, they try to say that I don't know what I'm talking about, and they badmouth me in front of clients and realtors. And I'm like, cool. You want to sit down with me like an adult and go over my report? Because if I have a picture and a video telling you that something's wrong, how can you argue with me about that? You're just upset that you have to fix it now. It's a brand new house. I'm not saying everything should be perfect. And the funny thing about this whole thing is, like, I get everybody jazzed up online about a brand new house should be perfect, this, and this. I don't care about 90% of stuff that I put in inspection reports because I'm just not that kind of person. I understand it, I know it, and I know there's people that care. And so I want to cover all of my bases. Some people are just super chill, like, I don't care about a couple of dents and dings on the wall, even if it is new construction. But here's the other thing too, why I had to start being so thorough is I would go to these like 11-month inspections, and like the people that have lived in that house for 11 months are just freaking out. They're like, this little ding was right here and this, and this. I'm like, you know what? I would rather just cover all that in the initial inspection and then let them negotiate after that. Right. It's not like, here's everything that I could find. And I don't understand. It's like these builders act like I'm making stuff up. There's a picture and a video of what's wrong, whether it's a scuff on the baseboard, whether the cabinets need to be adjusted, like whatever it is. It's not like we're making this stuff. That's where I've got a really good relationship with a lot of builders. But the ones that push back on me, I can't understand. I'm like, instead of trying to sue me like a bunch of children, have a conversation with me or pay me $300,000 a year and hire me. How about that? You're selling $1 million houses. Pay me $300,000 a year. I'll come work for you. You know, then we won't have any of these problems. You know, like I'll be your QC, you know, whatever. But here's my biggest compliment that I've gotten as a home inspector is I've probably done 20 plus. The people that hate us most are like superintendents, right? Project managers. Guess who they call when they have their own house? They call me. Yeah. They see every other home inspector in this stupid valley, and they call Joey to come do their personal house 20 plus times. I did probably 10 of them last year. And they'll be there and they'll tell me the same thing. Like, you know, all these, or they'll come up and they'll talk to me. I'll like when I'm doing a new build or something, like, hey dude, I'm going to get you to do this house for me. And it's the biggest compliment. The people that hate us the most, the people that see the most home inspections, and the people that should be the smartest people in the industry have chosen me time and time again. And I'm like, okay, that kind of like, that's how I know I'm not making stuff up. I'm doing this right.
Do you want to know why that is?
I would love to.
Because Joey McPeek is America's home inspector. I think you should start hashtagging that. That could be your new thing. It could be your new slogan. America's home inspector.
America's home inspector. Yeah. Then I'll need to go get a license in every state and start going. That's one of the like main comments too of like, can you go to Texas? I can't. Like not even for the right price. Like because I can't. Texas is one of the most heavy regulated states. The same thing like North Carolina is one of the toughest states to become a home inspector in. South Carolina is also regulated. So I came from one of the best home inspectors in one of the toughest regulated states to, we love Idaho for this reason, right? You grew up here, like we love it, but I'm still trying to change. You know, I've been to Doppel's office. I've talked to as many people as I can for years. I'm trying to get home inspectors regulated here. I think it'll do us a little bit of good. I mean, bare minimum pass the national home inspector exam.
I think bare minimum, a lot of industries in general just need to have a certain level of a standard, like a standard, but a certain level of it where it's not that anyone can do it because not everyone is cut out for every industry. But when you're putting something on the line, like your house and what's wrong with it and what could be called out and what could make or break $1 million or $300,000 transaction, this is people's money. Yeah. People's livelihoods, one of the biggest assets in people's financial portfolios. Yeah. They should have the best of the best, the cream of the crop, working on their house and telling them, advising them, guiding them, everything.
And that's the thing too. It's like, you know, a lot of tradesmen become home inspectors, and it doesn't mean you're just going to be instantly be good at it. There has to be a mindset. I would rather have somebody that's never done anything home inspection or trade related. If I know they're genuine and they care and they're not dumb. And they can pick up, if I don't have to tell them 5 or 6 times, like they pick up, like I've seen this defect once, it's in my bank now. And like, not like, hey, you missed this 10 times. Like, that's a great home inspector. I can train them. But some of the people like, hey, I did HVAC forever. Like, okay, that doesn't mean you're a great home inspector. I'm sorry. Right. You know, or you brought somebody to the inspection. And that's the other thing that I've been lucky enough to is like, and I get it. Like, let's say you don't know anything about houses and you bring somebody that you think knows something about houses.
Like the buyer's dad?
Like the buyer's dad. I What I do is when I used to do reviews, is I try to like I want them to make themselves look stupid. If they start getting on my nerves, there's been a couple times where like I did an inspection for a guy who's like a master electrician, and then the guy he brought was like a structural engineer. He did something else. These two were some of the most brilliant guys I've ever met. We're in the basement of this house, and I'm asking them questions because I'm not going to sit here and act like I know stuff. And I'm like, hey, I know everything I need to know as far as what a home inspection goes. But I'm like, I'm trying to learn too. I was like, hey, bro, I've got some questions for you. Teach me this. And so the only time that I've ever been mean to somebody that showed up to an inspection report is this young guy. He started working for a local builder here. Well, they're a national builder, I guess. And then he brought one of the older guys that works for the warranty department. And this dude started acting like a know-it-all. And I was really getting kind of frustrated with it. And I'm really good with people, and especially in that moment. So I just started setting him up to fail. I'm like, oh, well, you probably know what this is. I was like, you probably explain it better. Tell me how a sump pump works. And he's, and I'm like, so then I jump in and save him. And I do that 4 or 5 times. And then him and he's one of those idiots. If you ever go to home inspection and there's somebody going out tapping the walls or like doing this, like checking, like, okay, that's sturdy, like doing that stuff, they're morons. This dude was doing that. He was
It's like a tire kicker.
The tire kicker. Yeah. He was like, his house is from the 90s. And there was like a little piece of like trim on the front column that was worn down. And I had pictures of that, but there was so much around the house that I just put a few general photos in. And I'm like, hey, basic maintenance stuff. And I got in an argument with this dude in front of the client and the realtor because I was like, yeah, I kind of noted that. I was like, I didn't take that picture specifically, but I'm like, it's because there's a potted plant right here beside it, and these, or it's just holding water. It's a piece of trim that was this big that could have been replaced. Doesn't matter. It's not structural or anything. It's on a front porch column. And he's like, you don't call out wood rot in your reports? I'm like, that's not wood rot. Yes, I did call out a lot of basic maintenance stuff. And he's like, I can't believe it. A home inspector doesn't put wood rot in a report. I was like, why don't you go ahead and look up the definition of wood rot, moron? And so I started going off on him. That's not what wood rot is. It's a piece of trim. I said, why don't you go to one of your job sites and pull it out of the dumpster and come fix it for your boy here? Like, what are you talking about? And then so him and I got into it. He stormed off around the house. And then I looked at the realtor and client. I was like, I don't want to insult anybody. That guy is an idiot, man. Because this kid was scared because he was buying a house from the 90s with a ton of stuff in it. And I was like, you can ask me whatever question you want, and I'll be glad to help you, man. But please don't take any advice from this dude. And I called the realtor later, and I apologized, but she understood. Like, she's like, no, you were right. I was like, I know. That dude was a moron. Coming here and I'm trying to keep him from blowing up the deal. I don't know if the kid ever bought the house or not, but you just never know.
You never know. It's the beauty of people.
Yeah.
Hold on.
What does this do for you? And I'm like, not interested. Leave me alone. I just want nails and hammers and wood, which could also...
Be careful.
Yep.
Okay, so we're back, and we have taken a bit of a break, but let's keep rolling let's talk algorithms on the internet. Let's go for it. Let's talk about it live. And, I find that my personal Instagram, my algorithm is either really fucked up or puppies. It's a beautiful blend. Or like baby comedians, baby Theo Von, baby Bobby.
Those are weird.
But it's funny because that's my search page all the time. It's the messed up, really inappropriate humor that everyone gets offended over, or it's that stuff, and I love it. And conspiracies. It's the I'm getting a lot of conspiracy party videos right now. The people who are hosting conspiracy parties, and I just think that that's going to be either my Christmas party or my birthday party is going to be a conspiracy party. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
You have to. Wasn't there like a popular trend where like people would like come to whatever the party and like, okay, you pick whatever and you try to convince your friends.
Yeah, they're doing PowerPoint presentations. It's all over again. It's revitalized. It's revived. It's back in the game. Yes, and I think, are you a conspiracy person?
I'm a firm believer that I'm not a fence sitter, but I'm a firm believer that there's a little truth in everything. Mm-hmm. I know for a fact the Earth is flat. Not a fence sitter there. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm like, man, you'll hear something about flat Earth for a minute. And you're like, it does make a lot of sense. I'm like, if you pull a helicopter up and you leave it up for 10 hours, it shouldn't land in the same. So you start going through and then you start reading the comments.
I was just telling Katusha, I was like, listen, the flat earthers put up a real good argument. Like, it's hard to argue with that. And there are days where I'm like, I think I'm too fucking stupid to understand what they're saying right now, but it makes a lot of sense. But like, That's the one, because like we've talked about the moon landing, and I only had one person come back on me after our moon landing episode.
We know that's not real.
And got so upset with me, and it was at work, and we had it out. But somebody asked me last night. I was at dance with my kids, and she was like, "Well, you did the moon landing. Are you going to talk about the flat Earth?" And I was like, "I don't know that people are ready for that, because people get so upset with that one."
Man, it's fun to watch. Like,
It is.
Well, my opinion changes daily, and I'll sit there and read comments. I'm like, well, that's a really good point. And I'm like, and I made a joke. Literally, I think yesterday, talking to my buddy, I was like, what's going to be funny is that we all die, we get to heaven, and God's like, you guys really thought gravity held water.
Right.
Like,
Honestly,
to the side
yeah.
of the thing.
Yeah.
And I'm
Thank
like,
you. That's my only thing when I keep thinking about the flat earth, because I have so many people in my life who, you know, maybe not close to me, but you hear them and they're like, oh, these flat earthers. And I'm like, but when you fill up a sink or a pot,
water
the
always
water
finds level.
rolls over. So how are you telling me that it's a magical? Well, anyways, we'll dive in. We will dive in eventually to that, because I gotta get all the points.
Well, the thing is like, you know, okay, from construction, take a level.
Yeah.
Right. What do we use for
What's
level?
in a level?
A bubble and a
Liquid.
piece of
Yeah.
and some water. Oh my God. Like a little air gap and some water. You don't see that bubble just doing this willy nilly because whatever. I like right now, like I've got my hat on. Like I'm a flatter. If I had to bet, like that's what I like. Like I know Bush did 9/11. I'd bet my life on that. I know we didn't go to the moon. I'd bet my life on that. I'm getting close to thinking like this got to be flat, man. Like the water thing, I still can't wrap my mind around. No matter how many people condescend you on the internet or like you moron, gravity from the moon and this, I'm like, that sounds really complicated. You know, it's not complicated.
Flat.
The flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look what happens when I turn it. Like
It just makes so much sense. And then I always think of like Game of Thrones when they're talking about all the lands and you're just going to keep going on the water. But that's the map. It's like our maps, but they don't have a globe in that. But I just more think, how does it make sense? Like, is a plane doing this? So I was walking my dogs one night and it was a perfect sunset. And so I'm walking them near the water. And then by the time I'm going back, I think, wait, was the sun down or up? I'm such a retard. I don't really pay attention. But it was a different position, right? And so I tell my friend on the phone, I'm like, dude, I don't know if I just saw that right, if the sun just raised or did whatever, if the moon's out. And he's like, well, we're rotating. And I'm like,
Are we though?
but are we? Like, are we rotating? There's so many questions. And I think the biggest thing is when you start giving people the crumb to, hey, this could be not like you think and not like you were taught in school and growing up and on TV shows, all of the things. Then you start to go down these rabbit holes that it's like, well, yeah, actually, logically, and I love coming from a place of, logically though, like, come on, be real. Tip.
yeah, it's level right now.
So that'll be a fun conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe we do research and we bring you back on if you want to chime into the. I think.
Well, here like the tides and stuff like that. Here, like, so are you saying like the Earth doesn't spin, or you don't think it's spinning? Or
I don't know
it's
what
well, here
I'm
was
just
my
saying.
thought on it. If the Earth is flat,
Centrifugal
right,
force.
and let's say, that's our tides right there on a very small scale. See how they're coming in and going out. So I'm like, you start making sense, and you start going down that little rabbit hole, and then but that's with anything. Same thing like I talked about like earlier with like electricians arguing like you're an idiot because you don't agree, or there's just some like at the end of the day, there's what we always call the faith gap. You have to have faith one way or another. Either you think the Earth is real or flat, or you think the Earth is round.
It's all
I don't think it's
simulation.
real.
real. I hope it's real. This isn't the
What are
Truman
the
Show.
chances of us sitting here right now speaking into this thing that we don't like, and it records and we can put it all over for the world to see? Like it's a big world out there. There's
It
a lot
is.
going on that we don't know. And like we talked about earlier, like everything we've talked about today is literally psychology of people, and I'm obsessed with it. I like what makes people tick is the funniest thing to me, and then that's all the algorithm is. It's just it's like, hey, you haven't seen this in a couple weeks. Are you still interested in baseball? I'm like, baseball season's over. I don't really care. I'll scroll a little bit faster, and then it knows that I scrolled faster. My eyes didn't make.
How long did you watch this? So
Did
God
you
forbid
repeat it?
God forbid you leave your phone up to flush the toilet and that video plays 3 times, and then they think that that's what you want to see.
what you wanna see.
That's funny though, because my whole algorithm is Waylon Jennings and baseball. and conspiracies.
And now it's going to stay like that.
Yeah.
You know what? My Facebook algorithm on Reels is mini goats and mini like jumping and zoomies and all this random shit. And then there is a guy, I don't know if I've sent him to you because I know you don't do Facebook much, but there's a guy that works for this company that does these fancy keyboards, and he does these unhinged email sign-offs to his boss until he notices. So I just found him on Instagram too, and I'm following him because I need to start incorporating those and see, like cowabunga. I'm like
surviving, not thriving.
with ongoing regret. That kid's my favorite. His name is Christian something. Shout out to you, dude. You're hilarious because I want to incorporate those in every business thing I have and see who picks it up. Only people with a sense of humor because not everyone has it and can hang with it.
Too.
It is gone.
Things used to be funny, and as the former middle school class clown, like I don't fit in anymore. These people take stuff way too serious. Like, yeah, I just want you to know at the end of the day, I really don't care about 99% of what happens. Like, I'm going to make a joke about it, and we're going to keep moving on, and my algorithm's going to change tomorrow, and we're just going to have to keep going on with life.
Yeah.
Like it is what it is. I can either be mad for these next however many decades I'm on Earth, or I can just make fun of people. Which they need.
Yeah, and stop getting so offended. It's this whole era of offended.
It is
for everything.
And I got a shirt that says "Bring Back Bullying" on it, and I'm the first person to stop bullying because I don't like it. I like, even in elementary school, I stuck up for kids that were being actually bullied. But there were very crucial times of my life where I was bullied, and it made an impact on the rest of my life. And it's a small amount too. Like I was in college and I wrote the wrong "your." I was working at a pizzeria, and I don't even remember this girl's name, but she had a little to-go box, and I wrote "You're fired." And YOUR. And she roasted me in front of everybody. And like, you're in college. You don't even know the right, this, and this. And guess who spells it right for the rest of their life now? Who I remember that dumb moment, and it changed my life. That's the kind of bullying that I appreciate. I didn't get offended and be like, oh, well, you're in high school and you just make pizzas. Like, I'm delivering pizzas in college and I can't even spell "your" correctly. Like, that's the kind of bullying that we need. And then take it with like a grain of salt too. Like, hey, you were wrong. Let's learn from it and move on.
I think that can also be considered calling people out on their shit.
Yeah.
Instead of, people get really scared of the word bullying. But if you just say, hey, I was called out on my shit. I spelled this wrong. I was in college. Okay, but I noted and I made the change for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Just call people out. Nobody wants to call anyone out because they get offended. So it's like, well, I'm trying to help
It's almost
you.
pointless now.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, you have to like you're asking ChatGPT, what is the nicest way that I can present it to this person so they can understand? And there's nothing you can do to say to anybody. And like, I got like 6 people in my life who, if they told me something that was mean, I know they love me more than anything. And that's the reason why they're telling me that. But I'm the same thing. Everything I was like, you're just some dude on the internet commenting on my photo. You're an idiot. Shut up. Like, and that's where you leave it. He might be 100% right. And I'm just too proud to care. But
I'd probably come back and be like, you have no idea how big of an idiot I am.
Yeah. It's like,
you don't even know, sir.
This is
You
just
wanna
a glimpse.
start.
Yeah. And then, like I said, like with the bullying, like when he said something about like the word gets thrown around bad now, like I used to teach jujitsu and MMA for like a decade, right? So I ran a kids class forever. So I'm the most anti-bully possible. Like I can't stand when somebody is picking on somebody. It goes back to my authority problem, right? Like, you should not be picking on this person just because you're bigger than them. And that's why, I got to see that a lot. I had so many kids come into my school that were getting bullied. And that's why they started jujitsu and learning how to fight and stuff. And I taught them how to be respectful humans.
Yeah.
And like, the bullies never picked on them again. Like that's the only thing I care about is I want righteousness too. So.
Well, and you don't get to pick on somebody or make fun of somebody for something they can't control.
1,000%. Yeah.
Like, that's not cool.
Yeah. It's
But yeah,
funny.
if you make a spelling error, then
It's for sure funny.
Yeah.
But don't do it if you're going to hurt their feelings.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So then it's know your audience, but that's just
Know
the
your
problem
audience,
that we're in this era where everyone wants to take anything you say, no matter how nice ChatGPT tells you to say it.
Yes.
It's still offensive because they're being called out on their shit, and no one is used to being called out on their shit because of, I don't know, years of media manipulation and government, years of parents just enabling their kids to do whatever they want. It's those same parents who are squatting down in Target when their kid's having a temper tantrum and they're like, no, what are we feeling and why are we doing this? Yeah, my ass was threatened with a slap and we're leaving now.
Yeah.
There's no, it's that do you want to be respected out of fear or love? Yeah, a little. You wanted people to do things out of love for you, but you want them also to know that there is a consequence to your actions. That's also a faith thing.
Yeah.
So it's everything you do, there is a reaction to, there's a cause and effect to everything.
For 1,000%. And you know, with the exposure that we have now, is us three can sit right here, and I don't agree with 100% of stuff you say. You don't agree with 100% of stuff she's going to say. Like, if we wrote down every last one of our beliefs and this, and this, okay, well, you can do that for everybody. And our mentality now is we find the one thing that we don't like about something, and that's all we focus on. You know, like I go to church too. I sit in church with a bunch of people who I might even disagree with politically, this, and this, and like, doesn't mean I hate them. Like that means I hate my parents. That means I hate my friends and everybody. Like, you're not going to find somebody you 100% agree with on anything.
Well, and I feel like I would never have the audacity to say that everything that I think or believe or have opinions on is the right thing.
Yep.
You can change my mind. Like, I'll never forget the first time somebody was like, the world is flat. And I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Now
You're crazy. And now I'm like, wait a minute. Like, tell me why you think that. Like, I would love to hear. I love to hear other people's opinions, because I don't think that I'm the be all end all. I'm not the head idiot.
But the majority of, I think the majority of people who think like we do is, I love the difference of opinion. You love the difference. You love it because it makes us unique. And we've just been monkeys trained, like from the media, from people elected, from whatever it is, that they've created this hate, and then that's what's pushed online. So now your algorithm, if you watch one of those things, now you're deep down that rabbit hole of all of that. But you just have, the differences are the beautiful thing. They're not the thing that should drive hate, but they're really curating it to be that. So we do live in an era of hate, which is really sad, because can't we all just get along? And if you don't get along, that's fine. Not everyone's going to like you, and you don't have to like everyone, but can't we all just have basic respect for each other? Basic respect went out the window years ago.
It really did.
On a basis, I would say, of politics, mainly with COVID, and then just based on what they were feeding us with COVID.
Yeah. And it takes away a lot of our natural tendencies too. Here's a really good example is, you know, back in the Carolinas, way more diverse than Boise, right? Yeah. So I got to see all kinds of people, and I'm friends with all kinds of people. That's you grow up with them, and nationalities, race, genders, whatever, whether they make it up or not, you know them. And so one thing that I always noticed is with clients and realtors, like I said, I'm always studying like the psychology stuff, where I pick up on it. And when people would come by these inspections, it was 95 or more % of the time, like the realtor matched the people in a certain way. And it's not just like, most of the time, if it was like, it even comes down to like, there's a big like Indian population there, not the dot ones, the other ones. And they would always have an Indian realtor. Like you go to the one, go. That's our subconscious, is people that look like us. I
can't stop laughing because now Katusha's laughing so hard.
I didn't know what to call them.
The feather, not the dot.
The feather. No, not the feathers. Yeah. I grew up around some feathers too. Yeah. But that was just a good example.
Or a casino.
Yeah. If it was like just a regular, like a young man buying a house.
Can I keep it in? I can keep it in. Fuck it, go.
Was that a curveball?
No, it's fine. Let's go. Keep going. That's good.
I didn't know what else to call them, but that was a good example because we did have a big Indian population from India, folks. There's also some Catawbas and things out there too, so we had a mix. But that being said, like the whole base of the whole thing is like, if it was like a 21-year-old dude, the realtor was like a 21, 22-year-old too. If it was, and it would come down to like, you know, if it was a black couple, it was a black realtor. White couple, white, and it would come down to like specifics that I would notice too. If it was a married couple buying this house, and it was a very strong female lead in the marriage, it was a female realtor. If it was a very strong male-led marriage, it was a male realtor a lot of times too. And that was a lot. So our natural instinct is I look like you, I relate to you on a very subconscious level of like, that's my baseline. You know, like that's what it is. So if I have a natural, it's not racism, it's not hatred or anything else. It's just like, we're designed this way. Like you look like me, it makes sense.
But it is a connection, and it's one that you can see. Yeah. It's a visual connection that people, you don't really need to talk to them at first to know, like, oh, hey, they'll understand. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Anything like that. I get it.
Yeah. But then we still just try to find the little ways to hate people. And it's like that's what it just keeps kind of coming back to. Like, okay, this is just how we naturally are. Let's quit hating everybody. We can do this and have a lot more fun. If Facebook died tomorrow, I would be so stoked. now that I've built a business, it's such a double-edged sword. Now that I've built a business on an algorithm, I don't want it to be there at all.
It's a lot. It has changed the game of just how people treat each other in our lives. You know, we always say how we were raised and got it, whereas the kids today were raised with it, on it, and that's all they know. So it's a very different world for them, because if you took that away, they literally have no identity. They don't know shit.
Yeah.
Whereas we kind of saw the evolution of it.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I'm able to connect to the 20-somethings also and speak to them, because I went through this. Like, I saw what you were raised on. It happened to me. I just know how to navigate it differently because it wasn't my whole life. So it's a different world. But I really don't like it. I really don't like it.
I was born before Google. Surprise.
I was born on, or I'm sorry, I was in college, I think, with AOL. Was I in college with AOL? Yeah, something like that. I mean, AOL, dial-up. That's crazy shit.
Can we take a pause?
Yeah.
Americano break.
Just too much coffee in the tank break. So yeah, the beauty of life before social media and how we really don't want it anymore.
Well, and I do think that there's, like, we've talked about it before. Like, I'm raising my kids in the 90s, and I think there are a lot of people doing that. So I think we're kind of shifting, but the pendulum is swinging the other way.
I saw a video where it was like parents showing their kids the cartoons that we grew up with, or the shows
I do that all the
that
time.
we grew up with, because there's not like I guess there wasn't as many like subliminal messages and all the
Well,
crap
and just
now.
the frames of a cartoon were slower.
Yeah.
And the colors were like, that's how, like, Cocomelon fucks a kid's brain.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is. Like, I've never seen it, but it's awful. It's bad for their brains.
Our attention spans are just getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who were the chipmunks? Not Alvin and the Chipmunks. Who were the chipmunks on, like, the Looney Tunes? There were
Talking about Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Chippendale Rescue Rangers, but before they were Rescue Rangers, weren't they just Chippendale? And then sometimes on the Valentine's Day episodes, they'd have the love interest, and then you had like
Probably.
Pepe Le Pew and all of these things. I
Pepe Le
missed
Pew
that.
was like a rapist.
Oh, yeah.
Was he a rapist?
No, he was just a sexual assaulter.
Yeah.
There's what
A sexual harasser.
There's a
he
Dave
was
Chappelle.
French,
Matter.
dude. He was just French.
That's pretty on
There's a
brand.
Dave Chappelle skit about that. Have you heard that one?
I think so.
Pepe Le Pew. Yeah, I can't remember. I'll have to send it to you. But it's funny though. But he says the same thing. It's like Pepe Le Pew, whatever, was a rapist. Like, yeah.
We've made, the media society, everyone's come out against all of these things. And it's just like, that's how we grew up. And you know what? We're more normal than a lot of other people.
Yeah.
So who came either after or before, but now have to be offended about everything. And these are the same people who kneel down with their kids in Target and argue and or not argue, discuss. Why are we behaving like this?
I would like to say, for the record, if anybody's ever seen me kneel down to my kids in a store, it's because I was going, if you don't shape the fuck up right now, we are going home.
I will beat your ass.
Quiet parenting, not gentle parenting.
Yeah.
There can be a lot.
The gentle parenting is just what has just ruined.
I actually just read a thing about how detrimental gentle parenting is the other day. And it was like, because it turns into permissive parenting. Like, there's a place to say, yeah, you're allowed to be pissed at me right now.
Yeah.
But what you're not allowed to do is roll your eyes and go, whatever, mom. Because if you want to have an eye rolling contest, I'm going to win.
Yeah.
But like, there's a difference between validating your kid's feelings, because you can have your feelings all day long, but that doesn't give you permission to be an asshole.
Yeah.
Versus, and so gentle parenting's not the way.
A friend of mine posted something on her Instagram story the other day, and it was an article. And the headline to the article, because I didn't read it because the headline was so striking: kids who have no responsibility, kids who are given no responsibility before the age or after the age of 7. Oh my gosh, don't fuck this up. Kids who are given no responsibility.
The coffee's hitting.
I saw this thing on Instagram
Get
the
you
other
a
day.
nicotine
Let's
patch. Get your brain
let's
on gear.
redo it.
Should have
Let's
zanned.
redo it. Kids who were given no responsibility, like up until the age of 7, have lower motivation, lower productivity in their life. And you just think, okay, these kids should be doing shit. I remember when I was young, I was doing a lot. So, because that's just how you're raised.
Yeah.
If you're able-bodied and speaking fluently, you can do things. I mean, there is an age that happens. Some kids are more developmentally challenged and then accelerated than others. I think
mean,
that's fair.
it's a
You just-
generality. That's okay.
Totally. But still,
Well,
I'm
it
like,
goes back to what you were saying about holding people's hands. They'll figure
Right.
out a way. Like our back door, well, now after 10 years living in this house, it's just effed. But it's notoriously really difficult to do the deadbolt.
Yeah.
And when my kids were little, especially you have 2 under 2, like you got to ask a 3-year-old to let the dog out because I'm changing a diaper or something. And she figured it out. But then the little one had her sister to do it for her. And so she couldn't do that door till she was probably 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Because she just didn't have to figure it out herself.
Yeah.
Because her sister was there to do it for her. And I tell her all the time, like, just because you're the youngest doesn't mean you can't figure things out.
For sure. Yeah.
You have to figure it out.
Yeah. I used to tie my older brother's shoes. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the smart one here. We would go fishing. I would tie his lures and stuff on too. I'm like, yep, I'm the intelligent one. Well, you know what's funny though is, do you guys remember it was a Tim Allen movie called Jungle to Jungle? And I can't remember the premise. I'll probably mess a lot of that up. But the part that always stuck out with me is like his son and the baby mama were this uncontacted tribe or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so he's asking about his son, like he's meeting him. He's going from the actual jungle to like the jungle of New York, and he's asked like what the kid's name is, and the lady's like, his name is Mimi Siko, which roughly translates to cat piss. And they're like, we let the like kids pick their own names, and they basically raise themselves, kind of thing, and that's what we believe in the tribe. And so I was like, it's just such a perfect example, like yeah, that's why you need to parent your kids.
Yeah.
Or like you're there for guidance. One, it's biblical. Two, it's just natural. It's nature anyways. Like the kid named himself Cat Piss. Yeah. How many cat pisses do we know running? There's a lot of cat pisses out here now.
Right.
And they're ruining this. And when I used to teach jujitsu, same thing. Like I would want to discipline the parents because I'm like, you're the reason this kid's terrible.
Yeah.
Like they come in here and they look at me, the instructor, and they're like, it's almost, it never like directly said like, oh, this, but they've asked me like, hey, he talked back to his grandma. Can you do anything about that? Maybe I'll have a conversation with the kid, but it's like, yeah, let me pull you aside, man. Like,
yeah,
that's your job as a parent. And I get it. Like I've never had kids, but like at the same time, like there's only so much they're going to listen to from their parents, and I was a figure in their life that they loved and respected. And so I would do that too. But you can still see it of like, I need dad to get out here on the mat. Dad needs his butt kicked, like, or mom needs to do something else. But like you started seeing it more and more and more. And I'm like, I'm not here to raise your kids. I'm here to teach some stuff. Even though it does help a little bit.
Sure.
Oh, but shout out to my girl's dance coach. She's the best. And she's a good friend of mine also.
Yeah.
But I will text her and be like, will you have a chat about eating more protein, please? But just stuff that pertains to dance. I'm not asking her to, but on the flip side of that, when they're in class, that's her hour. I'm not stepping in.
Sure.
If my kid's being a dick, you tell them they're being a dick, which they're only a dick to me. But, it's because I've had gymnastics coaches and swim teachers say, oh my gosh, thank you. Because I'm so afraid to discipline people's kids right in front of them. And I'm like, no, don't be afraid.
Yeah. And that's even, like the generation we grew up in, like you could sign, like parents could sign a waiver and the teacher could paddle you, right? Like, yeah. Like, and even that was like looked down on, like, why would you need to sign a waiver? Just the teachers used to beat kids, but then by the time I was going through elementary school, it's like, hey, you could get the paddle hung up on the wall and, half the class, their parents let them get them spanked in school. And as that slowly starts to fade away, we're just going to find those people that want to call me about home inspection stuff that have
they're those kids.
They've grown up.
Yeah. They've all grown up.
They've all grown up. But
it was the kids who weren't disciplined when they were younger. And I mean, I can't say I was slapped or spanked many times growing up because I learned a lesson if I was. I kind of knew. My grandpa had that it was a thin wooden, almost like a ruler, a little thicker than a ruler with a hole that he drilled and he sanded it real good. And it was on a nail hanging in the kitchen. And it was called the baqueta. And you just knew. So what did I do? I never got struck with that thing because I wasn't an idiot. And I knew that the threat was there and it was real because it was shiny and sanded right there.
Oh, yeah.
But kids now, I think when things started transitioning to people calling child or CPS on parents if they spanked their kids.
I remember that phase.
I just thought, oh my God, this is where Kamala Harris is like, these are our children. No, they're their children. They're her children. They're his children. They're not your children. Like the children of the community.
A friend of mine said, these are God's children. He just loaned them to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah. But, also, even outside of discipline, it's letting kids make their own mistakes.
Sure.
And I tell them, because, I have one who's does not want to make any mistakes. And the other one's just walking chaos. But it was like, no, you're in a family so that you can't make mistakes. And you make an 11-year-old mistake, and it's the size of an 11-year-old. When you're 17, it's going to be a huge mistake. So let's make them now. But I know a lot of people who just cannot let their kids make any mistakes.
Yeah.
And you can't learn from that.
Yep.
And I think that's been a huge problem, too.
They're also going to be the ones that are calling Joey and asking why they can't
'Cause that's
have a
too much
sit down.
hand-holding.
It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
much hand holding.
Yeah, and you want to say something to them, but I do hate like the checks and balances too. Like, I don't want a bunch of 1-star reviews because I told people what they need to hear. Like, at some point it does ruin your business. And same thing like with the social media stuff too. Of like, that is the checks and balances too of like these builders or people, like, that's all blown up. And so you see it, but like, I like your point of you make those mistakes within the family. So if people started working together and actually cared about each other, then that could happen. That was a very common thing that we talked about in like jujitsu and fighting and stuff too. Is like, you train so you make those mistakes now, so you're ready for battle.
Yep.
Right? Like, same thing with military, same thing with police, like firefighters. Like, you train so you make those mistakes with people that can help you and love you. Whereas if you go to battle, you go do whatever, those people don't love you. They're trying to kill you. They're trying to break you. They're trying to choke you unconscious. So I'd rather you do this here with people that care about you in a safe environment.
Yep.
And then now you're better to go out into the world.
I love it. Hey, listen, Joey, America's Inspector. America's Home Inspector. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This has been fun.
This has been great. When we talk about flat Earth, I guess you're going to come back.
That's it, yeah.
We're going to have some bullet points. We're going to do a deep dive, and we'll have a good discussion on this.
Yeah.
Just on this.
Look at that. It's level. When you picked up and turned it, the water was still level. I'm just saying, there's a lot of great points. Maybe we do a PowerPoint presentation. We all try to convince each other the same thing we all want.
Yeah.
The Earth is definitely flat.
I mean, it just makes logical sense. I always like to put the ways to get in contact with you. Don't call him. We're going to put your website and your social handles, your business social handles, if that's fine.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll put that in the show notes. And if you want to share your public, like share your TikTok channel, and what's that? So you can say that.
Yeah, yep. Just Peek Inspections. My last name is McPeek, McPeek. So I just dropped the MC and became Peek Inspections. And then if you call our office, it's not like you can't talk to me. But if you do have questions, I'm always glad to help people. Emails are always the fastest because I can pause for a second and do that. But yeah, the website's great. Instagram's great. TikTok's great. I guess YouTube now. Maybe not to get in contact with me, but for some information.
Perfect.
But yep.
Thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to say, if you have anyone that we always say, have a good day to everyone except, if you have a group of people who you would like to carry this out, like just carry us home. Have a good day to everyone except.
How much time do you have? You know what? Because this is the most recent. That was funny. Have a good day to everybody except engineers.
Okay.
There's just too much. They ask, and they're always so condescending. Oh, I thought about being a home inspector. If I hear that one more time, we're going to bring the old Joey back out here. They have the dumbest questions, and they're the smartest people in the room. Somehow, it never fails. And I've had a few of them recently, and I'll screenshot. I'll put it on my Instagram of the comment that this guy made for our inspection.
Perfect. So have a good day to everyone except engineers.
See ya, engineers.
All right.
Bye.
Beautiful.